because they're not winning or they're not getting anywhere near a win, it sort of heightens that. And because he's from interstate as well, just adds another layer. So it's a good little story, but I don't think it's anything unusual for a first-year player to not have signed for that third year or fourth year.
He's averaging 17.8 disposals and 4.5 clearances. So I guess if you compare it with someone like Sam Walsh in his first season, he had 25.1 and 3.4 clearances.
He's a freak though, Sam Walsh.
And that's what I'm saying. But I guess the reference there is you want to see his work rate. We know he's the most talented kid.
Both ways is what I want to see.
Yes.
I don't want to just see it all downhill towards goal. I want to see, maybe I'll get 15 touches, but I'm going to have 6 tackles and I'm going to chase Josh Kelly from one end of the ground to the other to say, you know what, I'm not just going to be known as this downhill skier. I'm willing to go both ways and play both sides of the ball here.
Before we get into the full pre-match, obviously it's another milestone for Callum Ward. It feels like there's a new one every week when it comes to a guy who's the game's record holder at the Giants. As GWS make their way out onto Docklands. North Melbourne were out a few moments ago. There's no late changes. So 200 games up for the Giants. What does he mean to that club, Lids, from someone who's seen firsthand his worth rate and I guess one of the founding pioneers of the club?
Well, he's one of the most loved blokes there at the Giants. One that I thought he'd have a different persona when I first met him. I thought, he's this bloke who's so tough and hard on the field, but he is one of the most gentle, most genuine blokes who's just doesn't want to offend anyone, never says a bad word about any bloke until someone really challenges him on things that he cares about in terms of his toughness or his ability to play table tennis, which he's actually pretty good at.
Or FIFA.
Yeah, or FIFA. Then you see a different side, and he's actually pretty confident telling you where to go. But this guy is, he was basically the pin-up boy for work rate from the day you get there on, end of November to the start of the games, right through, trains nearly every session, probably looking after himself a bit better now, but trains every session.
So he's just more of a by example type leader, or he speaks really well, or is he just the full package? Like what's he really? He's one like big ticket, or is he? Just jump right at boys. This is how to do it. This is how we play football.
Well, he certainly does that. Because if you want someone to follow, he is in terms of put your head in the hole. Happy to get it kicked off to win the footy for your teammates, but he was really working on his delivery and ability to speak up in meetings and challenge blokes on what he thought was acceptable, because he knew he could back it up with what he was delivering. So, that was something that he really worked on, but wasn't overly comfortable doing. You have to be pretty comfortable with what you're putting out to be able to then go and challenge blokes in the behaviours that they're trying to deliver on. So he's getting better at that, but certainly not his strong suit, whereas Phil would probably take the reins in that sense when they were both captains. Phil very good at talking and being able to cover for that.
Where does Lachie Whitfield play? His form has just dropped a little bit in this season. Steve Cornelio back into the centre square, and all of a sudden his numbers are back where you'd expect them to be. And Josh Kelly, his last, I think 5 of 7 have been over 30 disposals. So you know where you're going to get from a couple of the midfield brigade. In terms of the other guys who are so influential, you can lock on Toby Green, but feels like Whitfield's one who, when the Giants are going well, he's a pretty handy contributor. Yeah,
and it looks to me like he's starting in the centre bounce. I reckon he'd probably be on the wing today, it looks like. Probably switching between wing, half back. If not, playing as what they call the jack, and he come up the ground and plays like that extra midfielder from the forward line. So his ability to run and cover ground is what his strong suit is, and then to make decisions on the run and continue to do it for a full 4 quarters is as good as anyone I've ever played with. But he's one. We've obviously seen Steve Cornelio and his ability to probably pick up his form over the last, most of this year. He's had the odd down day, but he's certainly starting to deliver more. And Chuck Kelly's been as good a year as he's had for a couple. I feel like his body's certainly helping him a bit more, but getting great numbers, kicking goals as well. I think that's been a real question mark on Josh and his ability to hit the scoreboard. So he's doing that. Probably winning their best and fairest, I would have thought, at this point in time for their midfield. Just Tommy Green's a pretty handy player to have in that side, and you've still got Hopper and Taranto to come into it at some stage. So, look, they certainly don't lack for depth, do they?
No, Lids, I get the feeling that Stephen Coniglio is really relishing the opportunity of a new coach coming in. I know he's obviously been there, Mark McVeigh, but I've noticed a few of the last pre-games that Cog's doing a lot of work with James Hird. It just feels like he's getting back into the midfield role a little bit more now. Is that a fair call, that he's getting more of an opportunity to come back through the midfield and sort of lead by example more as one of the captains?
Well, I don't know from having inside knowledge, to be completely honest with you, Murph. I can only go from what I see, and I have seen him spend more time there. Yep. I know last year and the year before he was probably playing that half-forward role where he's expected to, put pressure on and, you get your 14 to 20 touches and hopefully kick a goal if you can. But as we both know, we both played that role, it's bloody hard to play. So you've got to be like a Toby Green, who's good aerially, good one-on-one, wrestling blows, but can work up and down the ground. And that probably wasn't Cogs' strong suit. Yes, he is good one-on-one, but he's more of a natural on ball, a cover ground, get to good
chain of possessions,
chain possessions. Yep. So, yeah, mate, he's flourishing, definitely. I think that's where you'll see him play his best footy and be best suited for, against this, especially this side in North Melbourne. The work rate of him, Cogs and Josh Kelly, Lockie Whitfield, they'll certainly test out this North Melbourne midfield and see whether they're willing to work both ways. If they're not, they'll just get cut to shreds.
The voice of Brett Delidio alongside Mark Murphy on the SMS 0437 774 774. Bill makes the point, have the coaching staff told players that stats aren't important for the time and that their futures are guaranteed? I guess that's always one of the challenges in terms of a rebuilding side like North Melbourne, that players know where they're going to be, and I guess everyone's on notice. So I guess with that in mind, Lids, Murph, what are you looking forward to watching this afternoon between two sides who are desperate for a win? North Melbourne 1-11 and the Giants 3-8.
Well, I just think if you're a North Melbourne fan coming here today, it's obvious to say, but you just want to see effort and work rate. But I also want to see them be bold. And I know that Dan McPherson talked about at the start of the in the interview earlier about skill errors and the turnover game. But I'd love to see North Melbourne players actually just having a go at their kicks and their handballs and backing themselves in. And if they do turn it over, then righto, boys, let's keep on having a crack at it. Let's keep on playing the way in which we want to do it rather than just playing safe and going along, because that's going to get you nowhere unless that's a style of game that they love playing and they really feed off. But I want to see guys really back themselves in, and that's something that I'll be looking at today.
Something identifiable, I think, Murph. With teams gone by, when they're in this sort of rebuild, you get a real feel of what, I'll go back to Alistair Clarkson with the Hawks way back in 2005. You could see the systems and things they were putting in place. I think that's what you want to be able to see if you're a North Melbourne supporter. Righto, this is what we do when we've got the ball here. We're going to be setting up strong defensively when on kick-outs. We don't have any lapses. We don't see it go end to end because someone's just dropped off or can't be stuffed working harder. That's the sort of stuff that we're going to need to see from North Melbourne, and that's going to come from their best players. So I'm talking of, Simpkin and Zeeble, Jed Anderson, who's an older player now. So those sort of guys are going to have to really lead the way, and that's where they've got to hold those really high standards. But if they don't, then they'll get cut open.
And Toby Green, obviously centre stage, kicked a goal in every game, having
big day today,
missed the start of the season. So Mark McVeigh's chances of the Giants springboarding would be helped by having Toby regularly available.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I'll say this openly, he's pound for pound one of the best players in the competition. Doesn't stand extremely tall, but geez, he can play well above his head, very good on the ground, kicks goals, works incredibly hard. But I'm looking at that North Melbourne defence, and I'm not sure who's got the capabilities to go with him in all facets. So maybe it's an Aiden Core who will have to play a little bit smaller than he is, but he's competitive enough, and those two I've seen have plenty of good battles on the training track. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, but the other one is probably Luke McDonald, I would have thought, is their half-back, who's a senior player.
Do you think he gets the role?
Oh, you'd probably think so, but yeah, he's going to have his work cut out for him, as any player does. I think Braden Maynard's probably the only player that I've seen, get a hold of Toby once, but he never gets done twice.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a hold of him, really. I think
you got to quell him, don't you?
You've got to quell him, and his influence on his teammates as well is something that's really important, because he's one of my favourite players to watch in the AFL, because he's not the overly big player, but just plays tall, plays aggressive, does a real classy thing, so he's great to watch.
Can I just ask you tactically, if you're David Noble today leading into this game? Look, North Melbourne's game needs a lot of work, all facets, right?
Yep.
It's multi-fascinating there.
It is.
How much work
you
does
love that word. Yeah, that's a new word for all those listeners.
Apparently I said earlier multi-fascinating when of course I meant multifaceted. But if you look at the numbers, so Leon Cameron, when he was in charge, the Giants were averaging 70 points per game. Handbrakes come off, caretaker coach, they're averaging 117 points under Spike McVeigh in their last couple of games. The Roos in their last 8 have conceded over 100 points. So if and you can't focus on too many things at once. So if you're David Noble today, are you thinking, let's go with them and have a shootout and try to kick a score? Or are you thinking, let's just focus defensively today and see if we can try and hold up the Giants? Would you be sort of picking one area of the game rather than trying to catch lightning in a bottle and put it all together on the one afternoon.
Gee, it's hard, isn't it? The defensive side of me says, I think you've got to try and park the bus a bit and see whether you can stop this offensive run and weapons of all these Giants players. I don't know whether they can. I don't think they've got...
Because they'll give you a chance to score the other way. The Giants.
Yeah, if you're good enough and you can go back through them, absolutely, they'll give you a sniff. But you've got to make sure you're capitalising on that, because they'll go back just as quick and pop it through for another score. So, geez, I don't know. I hope for us watching that it's a shootout.
We like the live dynamite type games, don't we? That's what we're all about.
I think it's more of a fact of, right, boys, we're just going to work as hard back to support our teammates as possible, and then that's not where the job's done. The job's done on counter-attack and from turnover, to get hard forward and really be aggressive with your ball movement, because that's an exciting brand that fans love to come and see, is when teams have a crack through the corridor, or they back themselves in rather than going short or go wide or go long all the time to a contest. We need to see some aggressive ball patterns, some ball use from some of their good players down there, and I think they've got quite a few that have got a bit of talent and a bit of toast. So I'd like to see some guys back themselves in, but I think when things aren't going too well as a football club, you focus on doing the team acts, and you want to see that from your teammates. When you haven't had the results that you really want, you want to see blocks, you want to see supporting runs, tackles, third man in over to support, and if you get done by guys flying up for the ball in the same contest, you'll take that rather than none flying. So you just want to see really big team acts and try and that's the big focus from my end.
Of course, the last time these two sides faced off, they played off in a draw in round 13 last year down at Bellerive Oval. The final member of our team sitting in the front row of the grandstand this afternoon, Jess Webster, welcome back.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's good to be here under the roof rather than braving the elements outside. Now, there's been a lot of talk during the week about the crowd that we might get here this afternoon. The magic number, 8,974, the lowest crowd at this venue between Melbourne and GWS 2015. Looking around at the stands, I think they might avoid the worst crowd record, but not by much.
Thank you, Jess. The players are in position and we're ready to go. North Melbourne to head to the left as we see it, which is what end, Corby? Now that they've taken down the big signs?
I think that's the Coventry end.
We're all getting tested. North Melbourne desperate for a win. The Giants looking for a second win under Mark McVeigh. Here we go, Sunday afternoon footy. Here's Corbin Middlemass.
All eyes from the footy world on the Roos this afternoon as Goldstein wins the hit out in the middle. There's a pack which forms at his feet as Tom Green tries to extract it for the Giants. Goldie gets in there to tackle him, and he's going to be pinged holding the ball. Free kick North. And a centre break coming up. Todd Goldstein in his 100th consecutive game today. So great longevity. Hand pass to another milestone guy, and Luke McDonald kicks it deep for North. Fisted away by the Giants at the back. Centre half forward for the Roos. Hand pass from Turner. Away to Davies. Uniac gives it to Hall. He's kick smothered and ricochets into the hands of Ward for the Giants. To Himmelberg. Down back again to Keith. To Perryman by hand. And he goes short to Whitfield on the back flank.
Where Aiden Core comes charging out. Gathers for North, gets the hand pass to Anderson. They can work it through the outer side as McDonald looks up to half forward, bumped as he got his kick away. Clears Curtis Taylor, and then a good tackle laid by Flynn. Footy stuck underneath Paul Curtis, and the umpire will throw it up on the outer side. Looks like Luke McDonald has the company of Toby Green this afternoon as the umpire throws it up. Goldstein wins down the tap. Cornelio couldn't get a kick clearing the congestion. And the umpire will come and ball it up with Harry Perryman laying the tackle.
Whitfield up to the stoppage, as I spoke about, playing that high half forward role.
Luke McDonald and Aaron Hall both in game 150 for the Roos. From the stoppage, they win it again. Goldstein to Simpkin. Hand pass a turnover coming for the Giants. Got it to Himmelberg. Away to Tom Green under pressure. Gets a hand pass to Kelly. Bounces a kick down the city wing. Hogan had it. Lost it. Hand pass ends up with Walker for North. Gives it to Davies Uniac, and he's drilled by Kelly into the ground. And a ball up again on that city wing. As Jess said, if it's 9,000, it's only just a roll-up for North Melbourne and the Giants. Sunday afternoon footy at Docklands from the restart. Tom Green shoots a hand pass out of congestion into the forward 50. Peatling threw his body at it. Pack forms behind him. He's going to get another go at it, Peatling. He shoots a hand pass to Flynn. Away to Kelly, 60 metres out. Kicks that left-footed drop punt to the top of the goal square. There's a free for a hold. And Toby's going to get it, top of the goal square. It ended up in his lap anyway. And Toby Green has a chance to kick the first of the day.
We can see it already, can't you? Just in terms of their skill and class on the outside of the stoppage. So you can't question North's want to get inside and really challenge, but it's going to be their balance and their ability to see what's going on outside the stoppage. Josh Kelly just being on the move there, put into a really dangerous spot. And as I said about this bloke, Toby Green, very good one-on-one in the air, working up and down the ground, you name it.
He's footy's favourite villain, the bad boy Toby Green, pops through the first of the day. Giants on the board first. It's taken less than 3 minutes. The G-Men won straight 6. North Melbourne yet to score. There's no late change. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy.
Just got a bit lost there, didn't he, Luke McDonald? I think it was obviously some handy ball use from the stoppage, but just at the top of the square, just eyes off the ball a little bit, and almost Toby looked like he slipped there, and
he had his arms around him before it though, so that's why the call was made. You just get nervous when you're in front of goal like that, I suppose, against a good player.
Yeah, and he's a great intercepting player, Luke McDonald, but if the Giants can get him in those one-on-one contests and get the ball in there quick, then it's going to be like anyone in the AFL. They're going to have their hands full with Toby Green.
Bev on the SMS. Love listening to today's two experts, champion off-field as well, and AB is at Blacktown International Sport Park watching the VFL there. So love having your contribution, 0437 774 774 from the restarter hold. And it's going the way of North Melbourne. Jed Anderson to take it. Held by Cornelio. Looks to kick towards half forward, where Curtis Taylor takes the mark. Looks out to half forward, where he spots a free player. And they have options right on 50. And Curtis has taken the mark. Can he kick this?
Good question. I'm not sure. I haven't seen his range too much, but good player.
The 19-year-old has kicked 3-5 so far in his short career to the goals, the goal mouth. Larkey had a fair piece of it, couldn't hang on. And Adam Kennedy rushes it through for a minor score. GWS by 5 points, 4 minutes gone, opening term.
Is it AB off the SMS at Blacktown?
Yep.
Might be able to give us an update on how Taron Thomas is going this afternoon, having a run in the Magoos. As Himmelberg on the kick-out duties goes short to the back pocket. Jacob Ware takes the mark. As the kick goes back across the goal mouth, this is Himmelberg, marks top of the defensive goal square. And North well set up here. They hem the Giants in as the kick goes to the opposite back pocket, and Cumming takes the mark. So still last line of defence. Giants one straight, one behind for North Melbourne. Short kick comes away to Cornelio, and he marks still inside the defensive 50, left half back. Pulls it back to the corridor, chasing out after it. Himmelberg marks, now he gets it moving. Swings the kick out towards the broadcast wing, bouncing footy in front of Cal Ward. He collects, and he's 200th for the club. Chips short to Lockie Ash, and he marks right on halfway. Dockside, Giants by 5 points.
Careful build up from the Giants. He comes inboard to Himmelberg, who marks in the middle of Docklands. North have everyone behind the ball. So the kick towards half forward. Cornelio up, couldn't take the mark. Cleared the fingertips of Davies-Uniacke. The Giants have the numbers. De Boer got it from Riccardi. Hand pass back towards Ash. He kicks inside the 50 and a good mark. Taken deep in defence by Jai Simpkin. Goes short to Aaron Hall. Gives it back to Simpkin. Still at centre half back for North. Can switch it across the defensive half back line. And North Melbourne can look to try and build. Taylor looks further afield. Davies-Uniacke the target, never got to him. Whitfield gets a ham onto it, knocks it to Perryman. Hand pass to Tom Green, can chip inboard. They're on the bounce here as Ware takes the mark, kicks inside 50, pushing forward, running onto it. Peatley's going to kick it from the goal line. Far too easy from the Giants as they punish North Melbourne on the turnover. And James Peatling's on the board. The Giants out by 11 points. 2 straight 12 to North Melbourne, 1 behind.
Just shows you just how important hitting your kicks and your handballs are in this game, because they did a lot of things really well there, North. They slowed up the Giants. Their team defence looked pretty sound. They did work the ball through them, but they did intercept from about 50 to 55 out. But then on the way out, they just tried to hit a kick that is a pretty simple one, but unfortunately missed. And when you turn the ball over from 80 or so metres out of goal, it's always a hard one to stop.
Jess Webster on the boundary.
Just taking a look at Stephen Cornelio in the forward 50 for the Giants. The physio has gone out onto the field and actually has been assessing his foot on the field. Looks like the physio is coming to the bench now and Cornelio is okay, but we'll watch him closely.
All over it. Thanks, Jess. The Giants with the first two, an 11-point lead. Well, they've got a ball up again in the centre circles as Davies-Uniacke is locked up. Umpire chucks it in the air a second time. Goldstein down to Tom Green. Got boot the ball. Trickles it forward. Here's Cornelio on cue. Hand pass to Toby Green. Dishes it off to Perryman. Kicks into oncoming traffic. Still bounces inside the forward 50. Unkind for Hogan. And the Roos mop it up. Walker to Scott. And he goes back by hand to Aidan Corr against his old team for the first time. Kicks out to halfback. Goldstein pushes off one. Caught from behind and pinged holding the ball. And Goldstein just met by two Giants and Isaac Cumming, who was able to lock up the Roos big man. Wins possession for GWS. They can head inside 50 again. He's looking a little further as he shoots goalward. He misses the whole set on the low trajectory drop punt. And no change on the scoreboard. 8 minutes in. GWS 2 straight. North Melbourne 1 behind.
Aaron Hall looks to bring the Roos back into play. Wanted to switch play, change his mind. Riccardi corrals him, so now the long kick towards Goldstein. Up was Flynn, couldn't take the mark. Himmelberg's underground hand pass out in front of Whitfield. In fact, it's Tanner Bruin who has taken over the shoulder, and he'll take it at left half forward for the Giants. So another inside 50 coming up. This will be their 6th inside 50, with North Melbourne with just 2 through the opening 8 minutes. Bruin's long kick inside 50. Riccardi spoils it down to the front. Cornelio trying to get after it. McDonald laid the tackle. Hand pass to Hogan. Works it to Whitfield. Found space. Boundary side. Squaring kick. Sherry's there. Had to sit underneath it. And takes an important mark 20 metres out from his defensive goal.
New deal for Tristan Sherry during the week. Another 3 years. Dishes it off to Aaron Hall. Hand pass to Simpkin. Takes on Perryman. Forces the turnover. Hand pass to Himmelberg, who kicks to the goal square for the Giants. Juggled effort. Unsuccessful from Hogan. Keeps it alive in front of the behind post. Looking for a free. Doesn't get it. And Corr for the Roos. Hand pass to McDonald to Taylor. Taylor still in defensive 50. Hand pass back to McDonald. He's away off the back flank.
Can work it to Scott. And now he's corralled by Bruin. Drives a kick up the city wing. Too far for Goldstein, who's caught behind with Flynn in front. And Matthew Flynn takes the mark. Wants to go across half back. Himmelberg has it, and now he can switch play all the way back inside the defensive 50 to Taylor. They have 3 players on the broadcast side. Hand pass around the back to Iden. Now at the back to Ware. Has it at right half back. Gestures for someone to lead towards him. Kicks up towards Toby Green on a long lead. He takes the mark. Still 2 kicks out from goal. Has Hogan and Riccardi deep. Decides to just poke it over the top. And sliding in down low. The mark is taken by Zach Sproul.
The 24-year-old playing game number 3 of the season for his 14th overall. As he looks into the forward pocket, Hogan the target, edged underneath it, and Josh Walker takes the defensive mark for the Roos in the back pocket. Goes back to Sherry, which is an interesting option. The big man in the defensive goal square. And that is an unorthodox ball drop from quite a height back onto his foot as he whacks it out to half-back. Larkey forced to spoil down to Hayden. Hand pass to Anderson. Hands it away to Davies Uniacke. She just slips his kick away to Perez. He got it under pressure by hand to McDonald. Sends a kick in hope down the wing. Goldstein late to arrive, and Ward takes the intercept mark. The Giants lock it in the front half.
Looks to kick into the middle of the ground, where the kick found the intended target in Whitfield. Works it to Iden. Trying to work it around Curtis, and now out to the outer side where Adam Kennedy has time to gather the loose hand pass. Decides to go further wider still with a hand pass, which the kick inside 50 from Ware is a pretty good one to Hogan, who takes the mark despite having Walker right on his shoulder. And he marks hard against the boundary, 50 metres out from goal.
It's a second beautiful kick from young Ware. I like his movement so far.
Say at his best, Jesse Hogan could do this, but given the angle, he puts it to the teeth of goal. Getting back, Sherry up early, spoils it down. Hayden with the hand pass to Corr for North. Short into the back pocket, and Taylor takes the mark.
Just haven't been able to find a possession outside of 50, have they? Out of their defensive 50 than the North Melbourne footy side. So I just feel like they're getting too many numbers back and not having enough to go to, and they're just overdoing their handball a little bit at the moment.
Taylor high bomb down the line, and Curtis leaping up for it. Got hands to it, completed the mark, but juggled it over the boundary line. And the teenager will have to hand the footy to the boundary umpire. And we've got a throw in here, 55 out from the Giants' goal. They lead it 2 goals to 1 behind through the first 12 minutes from the boundary throw in. Taylor's taken high. Right at the feet of the ruckman, and he'll get the free kick at half-back for North Melbourne. The game's been played almost exclusively in the Giants' front half as Taylor kicks to Sherry. Got some front-on contact from Sprout and received the free kick on the City wing. Jess on the boundary.
Potential concern for Cornelio has now come to the bench. Right boot is off and he's just getting some treatment on the bench.
Oh, Sherry picks off a dangerous one-on-one trying to get it to Simpkin. Spills past he and also Bruin going back to collect Taylor. Hand pass to Turner. Hooks a kick inside 50. Ward spills the mark. Here's Stevenson. He's tackled. He's dispossessed. Great work, Connor Iden. The Giants away.
Himmelberg with a hand pass over the top to Bruin from half back and work it up to the wing. And Tom Green takes the mark. As the ball pushing through the middle of the ground, he goes more direct than that, straight down the middle. Where the mark is taken by Ware, off balance, his kick inboard, Turner with one hand, couldn't take the mark, did deny Perryman though, got it to Larkey, the hand pass to Simpkin, to Core in two minds, he did enough to get around Tom Green, straight down the middle, it's a good kick, unable to take the mark down low, Davies Uniac, Keefe for the Giants gathers, hand pass to Kennedy, and the Giants are out of defence through Ash.
Ash kicks for Riccardi, who marks, no he doesn't, spills a chest mark, mops it up and chips short to Perryman. Logo broadcast wing, kicks in the centre square for Bruin. Lays a hand pass off to Kelly, one of their best users going inside 50. Kicks to the goal square, the ball's out the back. Hogan got hands to it, backpedaling, spills it. Walker outnumbered. He's caught in the tackle from De Boer. He threw it. According to the umpire, and a free kick for Matt De Boer in the left forward pocket.
That was a great tackle. He worked pretty hard there, Matty De Boer, to get on the end of that one. It was a beautiful kick from Josh Kelly, as you called, Murph. It was perfectly weighted. Jesse Hogan just couldn't quite hang on, but good follow-up from Matty De Boer. You like shelling peas, these ones for the modern-day player.
3 metres in from the boundary line, hooking it across the body with his preferred right boot, and through it goes. And the Roos have been jumped again. GWS with the first 3 in the game. 15 minutes in, GWS 3 straight 18, North Melbourne 1 solitary behind. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Good news for Cornelio. It looks like he's about to run back onto the field, but he just came to the bench, took the boot off. His right ankle's already strapped. The doctors just had a look at it, but he's back there, out there on the field, so all good.
They look a little bit at sea at the moment, don't they, North? I just like them just to play 6 forwards, obviously the 6 mid, 6 backs, and actually try and get the plus in general play rather than trying to get a number up from the half-forward flank and invest numbers around the stoppage. I just feel that when they are trying to get the ball, especially going out of D50 at the moment, they just don't have great representation ahead of the ball to be able to get a contest and then just start again. So I like to see them stay with 6-6-6.
Larky, Goldstein, Stevenson, Zeeble all in their forward 50. As Sherry does his own work, gets the clearance after winning the tap. Ware underneath, courageously flew back, didn't take the mark. Zeeble gets it to Powell, kicks north to 50, but it's off the outside of the boot. And misses the opportunity to send it deep inside 50.
I reckon Harry Himmelberg's enjoying being in defence. He wouldn't have had 10 touches for a whole game playing forward. He's at 10 already in the start of this first quarter.
Still their leading goal kicker for the time being anyway, Harry Himmelberg. He's on 18 goals for the season. Toby Green now up to 16. For the boundary throw-in comes North's way. Curtis Taylor chucks it on the boot. He shoots goalward. It bounces across the face and through for a minor score. So a score from the stoppage on the back of the head out for Tristan Sherry, albeit a minor one. North 2 behind, GWS 3 straight, the Giants by 16.
Tate, an 11-year-old from Bairnsdale, wants to know, would Jaden Stevenson still be in Collingwood's best side if he didn't leave the Pies lids?
Good question. I think he probably would sneak into a forward pocket, wouldn't he?
Coming long towards half-back for the Giants. De Boer lays the tackle, knocks it in with Sproul over the top and Young on the bottom of the pack.
On Collingwood form, not on North Melbourne's form.
Yep. Thrown back up. Sherry wins down the tap. Cornelio onto it for the Giants. Hand pass to Kelly through traffic. Feeds the hand pass to Ash. Beautiful link up. And now coming from half back out to Jesse Hogan, who marks directly in front, 50 metres out. Toby Green racing to the goal mouth. He wants it in the pocket. Hogan instead gives the hand pass to Cornelio. He shimmies a kick inside 50. Peatley takes the mark. In fact, it's Riccardi in the right forward pocket. And a beautiful ball transition from the Giants. They had options aplenty.
It was just composed football there from Jesse Hogan. Didn't rush. It was obviously the last man there up forward. And Toby Green ran a really great pattern and just almost caused Luke McDonald to come with him. And then just this opened up a nice bit of space in the forward pocket. And Caniglio ran past and on his left foot was a pretty nice kick.
He's kicked 4 goals, 2 in his last 3. Jake Riccardi, as he steps out, snaps on the right, and that's a good finish. The Giants are the opening 4 goals of the match. 4 straight 24 to North Melbourne, 2 behind. 17 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
What do you think the message needs to be at the moment, Lids, if you were in the North Melbourne coaching box?
Oh, kick a goal, get it back to the centre and kick another 3. I think they're trying to match it and go fast and take it to the Giants. They're just not executing with their skills. I think they've got to just simplify a little bit, take some lateral ones, take some sting out of the game. Because as soon as that ball goes to a contest, unfortunately they're not good enough to win it there. That ignites the Giants' ability to run and spread.
You can still go quick by kicking the ball and just changing angles a bit, can't you? I think they're just trying to handball their way out, but they're also getting too many numbers back, and they're sort of all crowding each other and forcing the overuse handball at the moment.
A fair bit of noise being made, it must be said, by the Giants cheer squad behind the goals. At the southern end of the ground, Steve Cornelio's back out there. Hurt his ankle earlier, but he takes on the tackler here and shoots a handball out to Ward. Links up with Kelly, who's been heavily involved early. Kicks wide to Peatling, who takes the mark between wing and half forward. What a story he's been, James Peatling, the sub in last year's semi-final loss to the Cats. A jumper change and a big couple of weeks. He pokes it to Ware in the pocket. Perfect placement, and the left footer reaches up to take the mark, pressed up against the boundary line, left half forward.
JP was a young academy prospect when I was there, trying out as a half back. A lot of dash, a lot of run, but he's found his feet down there in the forward line, hasn't he? I think he had 14 or 15 score involvements a few weeks back in one of his games, kicking 3. Just the ability to use the foot, he's been very good.
Kicked 3 in each of his last 2. This is Jacob Ware, the South Australian mature age recruit. He sits it up to the top of the goal square, and it's punched through by Goldstein. A couple of metres out from the goal line, and a minor score, so didn't have the trip in the finish. GWS 4-1, North Melbourne 2 behinds. Giants by 23, 19 minutes in.
Aaron Hall brings North Melbourne back into play to Scott. And now to Jed Anderson, who did get a shove in the back after he'd taken the mark. But no 50 on offer. Anderson looking for options in the middle of the ground. None really presents, so sends it long towards the wing. Davies-Uniacke got up early and got tunnelled underneath. He'll get a free kick as Steve Cornelio got in his back. The midfielder who spent a fair bit of time up forward. His kick is wide of Zeeble, but he's got enough time to gather. Up against the boundary, kicks into the pocket. Larkey comes charging out, gets it to the advantage of Sherry. His hand pass missed Turner. A chance for the Giants to take it back. Through Tom Green, 1-2 with Keefe. He turns and kicks back inside the defensive 50, and Iden has it for the Giants.
A hand pass away to Ward. Ward, dangerous kick away to Whitfield. Got to him just in time with Greenwood arriving late. Whitfield stabs at the kick to Sproul on the back flank. The first 4 goals of the game to GWS, so they've got them deep in their front half, North Melbourne. How do they close down the exits? Well, the kick along the boundary line's a good one, and Tanner Bruin takes the mark. Picked 12 in the national draft a couple of years back. He goes short, back to Cal Ward, who started this chain.
Just demoralises you when you're in defence like this and they just keep on hitting kicks up the line. Someone just needs to just make a statement here and get a big spoil and hit a body almost.
Pulls the trigger back to the corridor, finds Tom Green, who turns and moves it across the ground on the bounce to Himmelberg. Great chase from Zeeble. Got a hand pass away, Himmelberg to Iden. He's under the pump, turn it over as well. Tom Powell in the other direction, races away in transition. He's going to be caught and run down. Never giving up the chase, Lockie Keefe. And he got the speed wobbles up Tom Powell, and as a result hit the deck and was caught in possession. 45 metres out, free kick for GWS in their D50.
Had no options inside the forward 50, so just had to keep running. Giants by 23 points. Keefe short to Taylor. Now, off the ball, it was Turner who was put down, right in front of a fraction of North fans. As Taylor gives it to Kelly, into the back pocket. Adam Kennedy has it. They can just spot up the options here, and Steve Cornelio's free. There's a bit of blocking going on off the ball, and Larkey's been put down, and eventually North do get a free kick. Iden was in a tangle. Kelly was there as well, and in the end the umpire blew his whistle and said, yep, I've seen enough to give away a free kick.
Who knows? This could be the spark to get them going here, Lids. They need something, but they're starting to get the big crowd involved. There's a lot of numbers here that all call for that free kick, so hopefully for North Melbourne's sake, Lark can go back and put it through.
So something from nothing here, from just inside 50. Larky comes in, it's out to the right and through for a minor score. North Melbourne have 3 behind, so the Giants 4-1-25. 22 minutes gone, opening turn.
Himmelberg on the kick-out duties, turned to defender under caretaker coach Mark McVeigh. Steps outside the goal square, he gets his possession and then gives it a long whack to the wing as Hogan flying for it. There's a free kick for a push. And Hogan's going to get it. He collided with a number of players in the air. And Hogan is going to take the free. He goes short to Cornelio. Cornelio has it on the defensive side of the wing. Tristan Sherry, one of the players Hogan collided with, still sore. Got a trainer with him at the moment. He's hunched over on the wing. Short kicking game for the Giants as they maintain possession as Whitfield goes short to Bruin in front of the interchange gates. 22 points, the lead for GWS. Short kick to Tom Green. He drops one he should have taken. Hand pass back to Bruin under pressure. Long contest kick to half forward. Riccardi gets a run at it. Big thump away from Lockie Young. Finds the safety the boundary line and a throw in 40 metres out from the Giants attacking goal, right where that turf's been replaced, which was the ring walk last week for Cambosis Haney. So we've had the bit of new turf both for the ring walk and where the boxing ring was this time last Sunday.
What do we have? 40,000 in for the fight. Under that today, Cornelio trying to break the tackle. Horn Francis did well, almost got him. Hand pass back to Adam Kennedy. High kick inside the 50. Riccardi's in the pack. Hogan as well. Green races after it at the back of the pack. Now Hayden. His hand pass is almost picked off by Hogan. Giants through Green. That's Toby. Dives on the footy. Hand passes towards the goal mouth. Walker gives it back to Davies Uniac. Loads up towards Larky at half back. Got a shove from Taylor. Umpire says it was all okay. Quick hand pass forward to Cornelio. 45 metres out. Flying shot on goal. He steers it through. Steve Cornelio able to pounce. Some loose checking from North Melbourne, and the Giants are out by 28 points. 5-1-31 to North Melbourne, 3 behinds. Now you asked for an update on the SMS Corby of the VFL, so Grant's been in touch. It's no surprise. The Giants lead 95-44. That's almost full time there. And Rory in Reservoir is a blind listener, loves the commentary. He wants to know from you, Corby, is the orange on the Giants the same shade as the orange on the traffic lights? You are our jumper specialist.
No, it's not.
Not quite.
The traffic lights would be more an amber, whereas this is a proper orange, would you say?
Yep. Yeah, so it's sort of the brightest orange you can think of.
Yep. It's a deep on it, orange.
Great
looks like Kane Turner's got the job on Kelly. He's going absolutely everywhere with him at the moment. So good luck. Noble's obviously giving him the role.
North Melbourne leading into this game had 4 goalless quarters in their last 9. And might be about to make it 5 from 10 as GWS go out of the middle again. Kelly floats a kick to centre half forward. There is De Boer. Hand pass comes back to Whitfield. Whitfield kicks to the top of the goal square. Collecting on the hop is Riccardi. He's then tackled, taken to ground. Ball spits out to Simpkin, pushed off his kick. Hall runs straight back at Riccardi. Riccardi tackles him to ground, and the umpire says holding the ball. Gee, Aaron Hall went back through traffic and ran into a defender, and he's very lucky not to be penalised holding the ball. Ball up, 20 out from the Giants' goal. Falls down to Hogan, he shoots goalward, and in the end he's lucky to sneak it through for a behind. And a minor score, 5-2 to 3 behinds. I'm not sure, Lids, if GWS have rented those fans behind the goals, but they are rowdy. It's almost like a...
Corbin.
It's almost like a soccer crowd.
They've been through it all, mate. That was the same crew that was there against
how much noise are they making? It's like they're purposely there to... They're all standing up and chanting. And
there's a lot of families of Giants players based in Victoria.
Yes.
Paul with a long kick in. Horn Francis is over the footy. He's cannoned into. In the back, no. Giants free kick. Didn't make enough intent to try and knock it out in the eyes of the umpire. Tough one for the first year rule. And Taylor has it on. No. Paul Curtis, he ran through the mark. He got away with one there. Taylor long inside the 50. Up Riccardi got a fist to it. It goes through for a minor score.
Maybe a few boxing fans from last week have stuck around from the western side of Sydney.
It's a 30-point GWS lead at the 27-minute mark of the opening term.
Oh, I'm here for it, absolutely. It's just, you don't see that at the home games, and here they are in what soccer fans would refer to as the away block, behind the goals at the southern end of the ground, making plenty of noise. That is a roost. A long kick out from fullback from Aaron Hall all the way up to the wing, and here's Horn Francis. Haven't called his name yet. The number 1 pick with his first touch, and it's right on the bell to end quarter number 1. And unfortunately, this quarter has turned out to be what we all feared. GWS with the first 5 in the game, and another goalless quarter for North Melbourne. 5 of the last 10 quarters of footy they played this season, they haven't kicked a single goal. Giants 5-3-33, North Melbourne 3 behinds. Canelio, Toby Green, Peatling, De Boer and Riccardi all have 1 each.
That update of the VFL full-time just about, so the Giants with a win over the Roos there. Thanks to Grant, who's kept us in touch. Shane from Curran Hill, I need Himmelberg to kick a couple of goals from a multi. Righto, yep. And the Corby fan from Semaphore wondering how many layers Jess Webster's wearing. Well, I don't think it's as cold as what Mitch Cleary and Tim Hodges had on the Thursday and the Friday night when it was bucketing with rain at the G. So the upside of having a roof over the top. But we will get a check-in on the crowd and the temperatures with Jess in a moment, also his time. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Behind the global controversy,
Julian Assange is the hero of our time.
Is a father's quest to free his son.
How does it feel to be the father of such a controversial figure?
In no sane world can this be normalised.
The ABC brings you an intimate portrayal of his fight for justice.
What's at stake? If he goes down, so will journalism.
Ithaca, a fight to free Julian Assange, continues Tuesday night on ABC TV or log in to stream on ABC iView.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
He's going to get another go at it, Peatling. Shoots a hand pass to Flynn. Away to Kelly, 60 metres out. Kicks that left-footed drop punt to the top of the goal square. There's a free for a hold. And Toby's going to get it, top of the goal square. It's footy's favourite villain, the bad boy Toby Green, pops through the first of the day.
Whitfield gets a ham onto it, knocks it to Perryman. Hand pass to Tom Green, can chip inboard. They're on the bounce here as Ware takes the mark, kicks inside 50, pushing forward, running onto it. Peatley's going to kick it from the goal line. Far too easy from the Giants as they punish North Melbourne on the turnover.
Bruin lays a hand pass off to Kelly, one of their best users, going inside 50. Kicks to the goal square. De Boer's out the back. Hogan got hands to it, backpedaling, spills it. Walker outnumbered. He's caught in a tackle from De Boer. He threw it. According to the umpire, a free kick for Matt De Boer in the left forward pocket. 3 metres in from the boundary line, hooking it across the body with his preferred right boot, and through it goes.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The standalone Sunday fixture on round 13 of the AFL. The Giants leading North Melbourne by 30 points, 5-3-33 to North Melbourne. 3 behinds. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemats calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, Clinchy, if you like seeing goals, and you're going to see lots of them, but from a Giants point of view, not so much the Roos. One of the only shots they got was as a result of a reversal back down the field, and I'm not sure, I didn't actually see what happened in that one, Murph, but they're just their inability to win it when it goes to a contest, but then chase and stop the Giants going from end to end is really evident so far, and it's probably the things that we wanted to see most from their midfield and high half backs, high half forwards, their ability to defend the ground. But like you said during the call there, Murph, is their ability to stop and deny that chip up the ground. The Giants just keep taking space, and all of a sudden they've got another one that's back up inside on the 45, which just opens up the whole ground. If you can't deny that, you're really struggling to defend the ground at all. So that's what I want to see. Stop guarding grass, get a man or stand just in front of him, and don't allow him to lead up on you. How many times have we seen that?
Well, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because I think every team plays a team defence, so you can't just play a one-on-one defence because teams will end up cutting you up anyway. But
they've already had 38 marks.
What you want to see is the initial, probably where the man is on the mark, within 30 metres. You want guys to be really hard, tight. From then, 30 to 50, you want guys to sit off and try and help a man. So sort of 1.5 man sort of defence is what most sides will probably call it. But at the moment, they're trying to play defence, but they're not actually really denying that first kick, which then just sort of just gets you in a really fatigued style where you're just constantly turning your head, trying to defend 2 or 3 guys around you, and it just becomes a nightmare, especially when you are a younger side. So there's obviously some senior blokes mixed in with some young guys, and the communication, they're obviously still trying to work on those things. But what you want to see is the guys within 30 metres of the ball being really hard to a man, and then when they go to a poor area, then you can come off and zone a little bit of grass and protect another little bit of area from your teammate. So I think they just need to try and deny that initial first kick and then go from there, and then try and get the ball back into a contest and then work hard trying to box out your opponent or get to the drop of the ball. But at the moment, the Giants are just playing a smart brand of football where they're just sort of working their way through methodically, and then once they get it to a point where they can get it one-on-one to Hogan or a Green, Riccardi, they're actually creating really good space for one another up there because of the ball use up the field is quite methodical. So you just like to see the North Melbourne defence within that 0 to 30 metre radius really starting to get closer to a man.
It's interesting just watching Toby Green line up at centre-half back at the moment. I'm not sure he's going to...
Oh, that's what threw me, because I was looking for Toby Green next to Hogan and I couldn't find him.
Not sure he's going to spend too much time there. It'd be interesting to see, given the Turner Kelly run with, as to what's going to happen there. So we'll keep an eye on it and keep you filled in.
The end of the second quarter we go. The Giants leading by 30 points. Flynn and Goldstein to start in the middle of the ground. Goldstein slaps it down, trying to get to the advantage of Davies Uniac. Kicks off the outside of the boot. Callum Ward is cannon into. Firstly by Horn Francis, and then Perez with the tackle. Umpire to throw it up. Goldstein and Flynn once more. Flynn tries to drop it down over the shoulder and a Giants free kick. Cornelio wanted to take the advantage, but it'll come back to Matt Flynn. The disposals the Giants' way in that first term, 117 to 65. The inside 50s, 17 to 7. And North Melbourne's kicking efficiency for a lot of that first quarter was under 60%. Flynn out to the city wing. Whitfield kept it alive, trying to combine with Perryman as cannon into by Perez. Perryman down and slow to rise. Whitfield gets to half forward for the Giants, kicks inside 50. Here's Toby Green back into attack. He can't keep it alive as he goes out of play. Jess Webb, so that was right in front of you. Ooh.
Yeah, we all felt that one, guys, and I think we're about to see maybe a replay. He's come to the bench and straight down on his hands and knees. Perryman's in a lot of pain.
Keep us updated. Jess Webster on the boundary. 5-goal lead for the Giants. Boundary throw-in right in front of their goal as it spills down to Cornelio. Chucks it on the left boot. Through it goes. More of the same to start the second. And GWS have kicked the first 6 in the game. Steve Cornelio with his second. And we've travelled just 90 seconds into this second term.
Well, you know what that was, Murph? That was captain's run. Like feel good, sort of tap it down, kick a goal just to feel good about yourself here, boys. Where was the defensive intent then? I missed it.
It was lacking, to say the least, but they basically almost tried to play a one-on-one then, North. There was no real support behind the stoppage.
Well, that means you've got one, doesn't it?
From corridor-wise or behind, and still they found an easy bit of space, and Caniglio's just got his own football out there at the moment. And
he's had it 10 times, so I'm pretty sure they know he's playing. No one had him, though, at that defensive 50 stoppage. They were inside 20.
Yep, it's worrying signs.
It's very worrying, Murph. Very worrying.
Standing alongside Jai Simpkin for this next centre bounce. So, yep, Giants looking like they might score at ease this afternoon. Goldstein gets the clearance out to Simpkin. Kicks to half forward, and Himmelberg takes the mark. He looks out to the city side. No options there. Comes back dockside. Cornelio takes the mark. In fact, he dropped it, had enough time to regather. Peatling's going to try and run away from Goldstein on the wing. Kicks up towards half forward. Nice kick. Out in front of Riccardi, who takes the mark. Left half forward, still 2 kicks out from goal. Veers out to the right, gains an extra 15 metres, sends it long inside 50. Flynn's there. Hogan flew over the back. Simpkin front and centre for North. Cut past one, not a second. As Bruin laid the tackle. Got it to Corey. Kicks to 50. That's defensive 50. Himmelberg runs onto it. Hand pass to Sproul. Almost tackled and dispossessed. Ball spills clear. Sproul has another go at it. Turner ridden into the ground. And the umpire will ball it up in the right forward pocket for the Giants. They lead by 36 points. Jess Webster.
Harry Perryman is making his very slow way down the Giants race to get further assessed. So a knee in the back and potentially the side of the ribs. So no doubt they'll check the ribs and potentially kidneys, but he was very ginger as he went down the race.
Thanks, Jess. The Giants going deep to the top of the goal square. Riccardi got hands to it. Core swats it away for the Giants. For the Roos, rather. Horn Francis collects. Hand pass to Davies Uniacke. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Stevenson forced to spoil at the back. Footy comes back to him. He's dispossessed by Himmelberg. Spills to Powell, and the youngsters wrapped up by Tom Green. And we'll have the ball up in the middle of Docklands.
Which is a good ball win from Horn Francis, wasn't it? Just put his body on the line straight through it and got the ball out of defensive 50.
Tom Powell, 20 years of age, picked 13 in the draft a couple of years ago in his second season. Another stoppage win for the Giants, and again it's Steve Coniglio. Races away with it, kicks to Riccardi, one out the cage. He's getting a free. Kyron Hayden pushed him front on, and Jake Riccardi will have a set shot 10 metres out, slight angle to the left.
Just doing as they please at the moment, the Giants. If you can catch it in that forward half, you're going to get shots on goal.
Riccardi snapping, goaling. He's got a couple, and the route is on early. 7 goals to start the game for the Giants, and North is still looking for their first. 4.5 minutes in, GWS by 42 points, 7-3, North Melbourne 3 behinds. Jess Webster on the boundary.
The Giants doctors have called the paramedics to go down into the rooms to further check out Harry Perryman. So obvious concerns there for him. As I mentioned earlier, potential ribs or kidneys. He just copped a very big hit to the back of his back, obviously. And Jake Steen looks like he's warming up on the bench. So no doubt Giants will activate their medical sub quite shortly.
Thank you, Jess. So obviously scary for Harry Perryman, especially if he's having issues sort of trying to breathe after that crunch. So we'll keep you updated on that. The Giants leading by 42 points. Only 5 minutes into the second term. It's got the potential to get even worse. Back in the middle, Goldstein wins down the tap against Flynn. Gets it to the advantage of Anderson. Kick towards half forward. Great take by Cumming. Works it away to Tom Green up towards Bruin. He's dragged down. Trying to work it back for the Giants. They have the numbers. Ash and Kelly. Hand pass to Ash. Almost taken down. Got it back to Kelly. To Cumming, who kicks out to the dock wing. And Bruin takes them up. Can work it forward to Tom Green. Now to Coniglio. They're really toying with North, just breaking tackles and probably overpossessing the footy, and back to Cumming at half back.
145 to 74, the disposal count. That is a major discrepancy in favour of the Giants, and now they're shifting play out to the city side. So through the hands of Himmelberg, then to Kennedy, who just chips it further afield, and the mark taken by Bruin. He's going to come back and across, and Kennedy on the defensive side of the wing. They're going to try out the dock side, so still possession comfortably in the hands of the Giants. Taylor short to Cumming, will mark in front of the interchange. 5 goals to zip in the opening quarter. First 2 goals of the second also to the Giants. And Cumming almost kicks the ground as it trickles away to Iden. He's closed down by Larkey. A little casual, the hand pass to Cumming. Back to Iden, and he's racing away on the wing.
Sees off the damage, takes a bounce and runs towards centre wing. Hand pass out to left half forward for Bruin. Sidesteps Goldstein, hacks a kick inside 50. Sproul caught behind. Core couldn't take the mark. Taylor for North. Hand pass through the congestion. Out to Simpkin. Looks to switch it to left half back. It's over the head of Davies Uniacke. Cal Ward taps it to his advantage. Onto it for the Giants. Ducks a tackle. Hand pass straight to the boundary line. How will the umpires see this?
Something to cheer about.
Intent. And North have something to cheer about. With Davies Uniacke to take it in the left back pocket. Drives North up to the wing. Good fly. Unable to come down with it was Curtis. He tries to get it forward for North Melbourne, but it's Green who emerges with it. Tom Green kicks inside 50, down low, and Luke McDonald picks it up. That's not a great kick to Simpkin.
He got to him on the bounce. Hand pass away to Curtis. The teenager looks to centre half back and finds Young, who takes the mark for North. And the fans that are here just imploring them to go as he kicks out to Curtis on the back flank. Pulls it back into the corridor. Anderson the target, no mark. Where's there? Perez tackles him immediately. Forces the ball up. Attacking edge of the centre square for North.
It's not just their execution, but their decision making. Yeah. It's like you got the easy 1v none versus the 1v1 in the corridor. Please.
The ball up, Goldstein wins it down, loose footy, Simpkin gives it to Perez, wasn't expecting it, the lefty chucks it on the boot inside the forward 50, bouncing ball out in front of Larkey, Larkey still after it, becomes tackler on Iden, did he get him high? He did. Free kick for Iden in the back pocket. 7 goals to nothing. Giants by 42 points, 8 minutes into the second term.
On the SMS, Tip Rat's already on the front foot, we don't want the Roos in Tassie. And Shane wondering whether Tanner Bruin is being used in a different role today. Seems to be getting a bit of the footy.
Playing his wing role pretty well, I think.
Iden's kick was picked off by Hayden. Kicks inside 50. That's a good mark from Taylor. Flying in from the left. He's able to reach over the top and pull in the mark against Ware.
He's had a pretty good start to the game. Curtis Taylor up to 8 disposals now. He's always been able to catch it above his head. Probably just been starved of opportunities with lack of inside 50s.
It's been tough today up there for the North Melbourne forwards.
He spent a lot more time on the wing, but when he does get forward, watching him in the warm-up, he was kicking pretty sweetly, so hopefully he can knock this one through for their first.
One of 7 Roos who's played every game in 2022.
Well
Taylor comes in, beautiful off the boot, and finally North are on the board. 9 minutes gone, second term. And the Roos have their first. 1-3-9 to the Giants, 7-3-45. So it breaks a run of 7 unanswered goals. And North Melbourne start the climb. The Giants by 36 points. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, at what stage do you change up some of your matchups inside the midfield there? Because Kane Turner at the moment's got the job on Kelly. I'm not sure what Kelly's had.
10.
He's had 10 so far, but the way in which the game's going, do you look to give someone another opportunity? Maybe a Simpkin going, right, Joel, you're going to go head-to-head with Coniglio. He started like a house on fire today. I want you just to go everywhere he goes when he comes up into the midfield, because I think Kane Turner's probably a pretty handy ball user at the moment. He looks a little bit lost at sea, just trying to chase around Kelly everywhere, and he just looks spent at the moment.
Giants 14 more inside 50s. They lead the game by 36, but North at last with their first. It's come 10 minutes into the second quarter. In the middle of the ground, it's whacked down to Whitfield. He's locked up, and we'll have a ball up inside the middle of the ground. Green spills past him. Tom Power puts a hand pass back into congestion. We'll have another ball up alongside the centre circles.
Unfortunately for David Noble, it's a bit like moving deck chairs on the Titanic, isn't it? Well,
one move's not going to do it, is it?
No, I don't think so.
We're only midway through the second, but they might already have the music playing on that deck as well, as Davies Uniacke, hand pass out to Powell, kicks down to half forward. Larkey trying to turn Taylor inside out, collects 65 from home, kicks one along the ground to Anderson. He's pushed off it, and Ware for the Giants to Iden, away to Tom Green, back to Ware. He's drilled in the tackle, taken to ground, and the umpire says ball up. So they force a stoppage, North Melbourne, inside their attacking 50, 45 metres out. It's the Giants by 6 goals.
Sherry does the ruck against Sproul, tries to tap it down to Zeeble. He can't burst his way clear. He's tackled by Sproul and Ware, and the umpire will throw it up. Hugh Greenwood, just the one disposal. Jack Zeeble with 2, Horn Francis with 2. A couple of North Melbourne players who haven't touched a lot of the footy. Sherry knocks it down to Anderson, hand pass to Simpkin, kicks towards the goal mouth. Loose man in defence. Harry Himmelberg takes the mark uncontested, 35 metres out from his defensive goal.
You can't just allow Harry Himmelberg to stand there by himself when it's a 1v2. Stevenson needs to come up and make a 2-for-1 there.
Long kick up towards half-back. Riccardi comes out. Young was in front, couldn't take the mark. And off hands through Hayden. It goes out of play for a boundary throw-in. The Giants by 36 points, 7-3-45 to North Melbourne, 1-3-9. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass call the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts. Shallow throw-in which Sherry is able to knock down to the front. Ward cannon into. There's a good tackle laid by Davies Uniacke, and it's going to be rewarded. A free kick for North, holding the footy.
It's got him a couple of times now, Davies Uniacke. Tough kid, isn't he?
Yeah, he
built really well.
Davies Uniacke with the long kick to half forward. Horn Francis down there. It's thumped away from him. That's Jake Steen, the Medi sub, who's on the ground for Harry Perryman. And has an impact straight away. Perryman downstairs with the Docks after being involved in a heavy collision on the wing earlier in this second quarter. Giants by 36 points. Boundary throwing half forward for North. Sherry grabs it out of the ruck, hooks a kick to the goal square. Larkey outnumbered, edged underneath it, and Himmelberg takes the intercept mark. Top of the defensive goal square, Giants by 36.
It's rare you can have a better day than kicking a bag, but Harry Himmelberg might have that if North just keep kicking it to him. Sends it towards half-back. Hogan in the pack, couldn't take the mark. Cornelio dragged down, could have almost been holding the footy. Good tackle from Young. A chance for Simpkin, gave it to Greenwood. Tackled as he squeezed the kick up towards half-forward. Cornelio taken high, and Sherry throws him to the turf. And the umpire, I think, is going to ball it up.
It's been a good couple of minutes from North. They're starting to cover off the outlets a lot better. Pressuring, harassing the man. It's been good to see.
The bigger Sherry with the tackle on Cornelio. Probably was a legal tackle. Sherry down to Powell, kicks inside 50. Himmelberg back with the fly.
Again.
Takes the mark. He was alongside Jack Siebel on that entry inside 50. So, how many marks, Corby?
9 for him. That's possession number 20.
Tag him, I reckon.
6 intercept possessions.
We're only 14 minutes into the second quarter. Harry Himmelberg with 20 touches already.
Well, someone's just got to stand near him, don't they?
Would have thought.
Whitfield comes out a defensive 50 for the Giants, and Hogan takes the mark. Half back, kicks GWS down the wing over the head of Sproul, who chases out after it, and in the end he's quite happy to see it out. With Power for company, a boundary throw-in on that City wing. 7-3 to 1-3, Giants kicking the first 7 of the game. And Curtis Taylor put North Melbourne's first through at the 9-minute mark of the quarter. We've now travelled 15 into the second. From the boundary throw-in, down to Davies Uniacke. He's tackled and taken to ground. Logo of the City wing.
Both teams decide to play 6 forward, 6 backs. Plenty of space around the stoppage.
Sherry one down the tap for North, but Bruin onto it. Hand pass towards Steen. Got it away to Ward and works the 1-2. Sproul to Tom Green to Whitfield as they run the outer side. Hand pass to Cornelio. He's used it superbly so far and spots out Matt De Boer. He leads into the right forward pocket and takes the mark.
Matty De Boer has done a power of work up and down the ground providing options, but only coming up for his 4th possession. Already kicked the goal, but there's some of the unrewarded running that he does. We saw even there a couple of blocks inside the stoppage to allow the boys to get through and then get the hands free and get out the front of the stoppage, which is the last thing you want to do as a North player.
He wants to put it into the pocket. That was on display for everyone to see, and Riccardi takes the mark just inside the boundary. So Matt De Boer already has one next to his name. Riccardi has a couple. It's a tougher shot, but probably in more preferred hands.
Jake Riccardi knows how to fill his boots too when he senses a day. I think he kicked 9 earlier this year in the VFL, so he knows how to get on the end of them.
Kicked 9?
I think so.
Wow.
It's probably the toughest pocket, I think, at Marvel, kicking them from here. You very rarely see someone go back and slot them.
Certainly not with a drop punt anyway.
No, it's going to have to be a big banana, I reckon.
Now he started with the drop punt and switched to the banana, and I think we've just seen a blood rule, so just pause for a moment or so before he's allowed to take his kick.
Droppy.
He's got the drop punt in his hand. Jake Riccardi shooting for goal number 3. It's a good effort as it sails straight over the goal umpire's hat. Tip of the cap to you as he's able to make the drop punt talk from the boundary. And the Giants immediately respond after Curtis Taylor's goal at the other end. It's 8-1. 8-3-51 to North Melbourne, 1-3-9. And Jake Riccardi just channeling a bit of Brett Delidio saying, 9 in a VFL, you reckon? He's got 3 before half-time.
Yeah, well, he knows how to cash in, but I can't believe Mark Murphy wrote him off there with how hard that pocket is. He's just knock it through easy. I suppose you usually see that from this side of the ground where the race is, where the boys exit, so they knock them through from out here. Not so much the other side there, but they're certainly cashing in here, the Giants boys.
The reverse Moz, wasn't it?
It was. Well done. Keep going, actually.
Only when North have a shot maybe next time.
Yeah.
Jess Webster on the boundary.
Just a quick update on Harry Perryman. He is going off to hospital to get some further treatment on his ribs. They're also concerned about his lungs as well. So not good news for Harry. He's off to hospital.
Thanks, Jess. Some concern there for Harry Perryman. Absolutely subbed out of the game as Bruin in the middle of the ground gets the clearance, kicks down to Pateline, shot a hand pass away, and then Toby Green, who was out to meet it, was coat-hanging in the tackle from Flynn Perez. Gets the free 60 out at right half forward. Giants going inside 50 again as Toby puts it into the pocket. Tom Green, the target, slips past him close to the boundary line. Lockie Young wanted to shepherd it out of play. Peatling collects and he's shoved over. And a boundary throw in the forward pocket. He kicked 9 goals and had 10 marks against the Bull Ants back in May. This is Jake Riccardi. Team won by 110 points that day.
I reckon that might be happening today as well.
Wow. 7 goals already. The margin 42 points in favour of the Giants midway through the second. For the boundary throw in, Hall kicks hurriedly out to half-back. Taylor went with the fly, no mark. Spills to Zeeble, hands it back to Sam Taylor. There's a free kick here.
Downfield.
Wow. So Taylor got a kick away inside 50. He was dumped after doing so. And the umpire says that's a downfield free for the Giants, and Tom Green wastes no time as he pops it onto the chest of Peatling, who marks against the boundary line. 35 out, right half forward.
There's just so many good learnings here if you're a coach and coaching staff. The North mids, even their forwards, they're pressing up, their half-backs, they're falling asleep on defence, aren't they? This is the secondary hit up inside their forward 50.
19 minutes into the second quarter. James Peatling on the right foot, drop punt. He's kicked it across the goal face and through for a behind.
Tough pocket that one.
It's just better to say. Giants 43 points. Same spot Riccardi gold moments ago. He has 3. Canelio has 2, and the Giants lead at 8 goals to 1, 19 minutes into the second term.
And I think at halftime, 3 weeks ago, they had 6 goals against the Demons. They haven't been able to showcase their best, North Melbourne. As Young has it in the back pocket, drives the kick up towards Goldstein and Flynn. From behind, Steen's able to put a fist in there. Goldstein could have been taken high, no whistle. Where, hand pass pinched by Davies Uniacke. Tucks the footy under his arm. 2 bounces and he gets to half forward. Hand pass around Keith out to Sherry. He wants to go backwards to Anderson. 55 metres out, not a great kick. Bruin takes the intercepting mark for the Giants. Turns back onto his right boot. Kicks up to the wing. Riccardi and Whitfield are there. Good work from Young. Spoiled it out of play for a throw-in in a 2-on-1 and was able to get the victory in the 1.
Sherry at the centre moment there, didn't he give it back to Davies Uniacke? He'd done all the good work. Just reward him for working hard, running, taking the game on.
Or at the very least, just face forward and use the ball by
Kick
foot.
it yourself.
Second quarter have been the Giants' best this season. They've won 5 of the 12 that they've played, compared to the other 3 quarters where they've had a few victories. From the boundary throw-in, Flynn ends up with it, tumbles a kick down to half forward. Peatling a little fumble, made it tough for himself. Canelio in the middle, got it away through the hands of Whitfield. Now Ward, he's tackled, taken to ground. And a ball up alongside the centre circles.
Greenwood's not having his best day. He's only had the 2 touches and double grabbing it when it comes.
Sherry palms it down to Powell. Surge kick to centre half forward. Davies Uniacke on the bounce. Traps it. Hand pass to Anderson. Kicks to Larkey. And Nick Larkey takes the mark. 35 out directly in front. So from the stoppage, and the chain ends up with the key forward having a ping from dead in front.
It's a nice bit of football. Like win the ball at the stoppage, get it forward, have your forward playing in front, be clean with the footy, use the runner, and then hit the key forward. That's a great style of football, and hopefully for North, Larkey can go back and put it through the big sticks.
They've kicked just the 1 in the game so far. Nick Larkey, no problems from directly in front. More of that, please, say the North Melbourne faithful. And Larkey immediately heads to the bench. 2-3-15 the Roos. GWS 8-4-52. The Giants by 37 points. Time on second term.
It was just a good attack on the footy from Davies Uniacke. He went at it. Connor Iden just held back, hoping to get the good bounce, but get rewarded when you go at the footy. Good follow-up from Jed Anderson. His ability to leave that contest and get forward, test out the Giants' mids. Nice little touch kick to Larkey.
Well, they're keeping their forwards, aren't they? So it allows the mids just to know exactly what we can get the ball in our boot, get it hard forward. We know we're going to get a one-on-one contest, and that way we can run hard forward and try and get on the end of one, and that's exactly what Anderson did there.
Back in the middle, Flynn to do battle against Sherry. Flynn tapped it down and then got the clearance almost as it ricocheted off Simpkins' boot. Left it behind. Tom Green tackle. Good tackle. Jai Simpkin got him. And he'll take the free kick in the middle of the Docklands for North. Can they try and build here and score consecutive goals for the first time in the match? Simpkin looks long inside 50. Zeeble offers a lead. Goldstein's there as well. Sends it down towards Greenwood. Zeeble there, touched off the boot. He quickly kicks towards the goal mouth, but getting back, Lockie Ash stands in front of a charging Jaden Stevenson, and now 50.
Stevenson been going so far. Hasn't touched it.
Not great. Jack Zeeble just a little bit unlucky that it was touched as he got a good grip on it. And as a result, rushed his kick towards the goal mouth. Ash straight down the middle now. Downfield free kick.
Well downfield too.
It's against Hayden and directly in front. 40 metres out, and it's going to go the way of Tanner Bruin.
Can I revisit that whether Jaden Stevenson's going to get a game for Collingwood?
Yeah, it's a big call.
You can come back to that one if you'd like to.
So reverse what I said.
What could have been a shot on goal for North Melbourne is now a shot on goal for the Giants. As the ball transferred from half back to half forward without needing a disposal. And Tanner Bruin a chance to kick his 4th goal of the season and first of the afternoon. Veers out to the right. Bruin from just inside 50. That's a flush strike. Straight over the goal umpire's hat. And the Giants rub a little bit of salt into the wound as they stretch it back out to 43 points, which is a game-high lead. 9-4-58 to North Melbourne, 2-3-15. 24 minutes gone, opening second term on ABC Sport.
Murph, I've got a question for you. We've both played in teams where you've been copping an absolute hiding. How do you, one probably is a leader, but two is just a general player and pride in your own performance. How do you continue to maintain your effort when things aren't going and everything you do just seems to fail? You know, how do you maintain your effort and presence in this game?
Well, you just got to take the scoreboard out of it, really.
Try to.
Yeah, you've got to try to, and you can't be impacted on what you're seeing up on the big scoreboard at the moment. Just worry about when it's your turn to go, that you go and you instruct your teammates and try and make your teammate better, because the worst thing you can do at this point in time is just go all insular and think about yourself.
Giants by 43 points. Back in the middle. Kelly first disposal from the restart. Hand pass away to Whitfield. He kicks to the wing on the City side of the ground. Bounces in front of Ware. Spills down to Perez. Hand pass for North. Was trying to get it to Curtis. It spills down to Bailey Scott. He's under pressure. Bowled over. Horn Francis collects the foot. He's tackled by Cornelio. They wanted a free for a high tackle. They won't get it. Umpire lets them roll. Anderson kicks down to half forward for North. There's Stevenson. He's tackled and dispossessed. And the Giants win it back. Coming away towards Whitfield. He does the 1-2 with Tom Green, and Whitfield's kick superb. Just put it straight onto the throat of Toby Green, who marks, looks inside 50. Bruin attacked the footy. Got contact on the way through. Mark wasn't paid. Taylor's hand pass back into dispute. Bruin slides in. The ball is held to him. And a ball up, left half forward for GWS, about 45 metres out from their attacking goal. It's the Giants by 43 points, 9-2, approaching half-time.
Goldstein wins down the tap. Simpkins' kick was smothered. Gathered by Bruin, turns on his right, kicks towards the goal mouth. Riccardi outmanoeuvred. And a good mark taken by Aidan Corr. He is taller than you imagine, 195 centimetres, can play on the talls and the smalls, short to young and straight down the middle. As North Melbourne have it through Perez. He's been playing on the wing this afternoon. Flynn Perez looks out to the City side. And that's a nice pass that finds the chest of Paul Curtis. Stevenson on a long lead. He chips it over the top to him. He marks just in front of Iden. Gives the hand pass back to Curtis. Kicks towards the 50. Simpkin there. Turner back with the flight. Marks in front. He has it right on 50. Gives the hand pass back to Curtis. Good running. Kicks towards the 50. Larkey tried to shepherd it. Goldstein's in the goal square. He can't knock it clear. And a couple of Giants over the top in Taylor and Sproul. Lock it up at the top of the goal square for North Melbourne. They trail by 43.
It's a wide margin already. Standalone game Sunday afternoon, around 13:40 as Goldstein tries to win it down onto his boot. Kick smothered. Still on the behind line for North, close to the boundary line, and Anderson and Iden just whack it out of play, so a throw in.
Good bit of ball movement. I thought that last little passage of play for North, they just lowered the eyes, took what the opposition gave them, and then just some good little hit-up leads, and then a nice little protection of mark by Josh Simpkin, allowing his teammate to get the ball.
Sproul and Goldstein. Goldstein, beautiful service down to Davies. Uniac, he snaps but misses. Out to the left.
Had more time, didn't he?
Could have just too hard. That's the problem.
Could have just straightened up on his right foot and kicked a drop punt, but great movement at the stoppage, wasn't it? And great.
Should have been a stoppage goal for the Roos. GWS by 42 points. 28 played, second term.
Coming straight down the middle, beautiful kick, found Steen, and here go the Giants away. Got it to Whitfield, almost run down. Got a hand pass forward, which Aaron Halls are able to run onto for North Melbourne. He looks to turn defence into attack. High ball in which Anderson's underneath. Larkey flies from the back. Charging through was Davies Uniac, and he was taken high.
I didn't see that one.
It was a
good tackle.
Good attack on the footy. He's going to square it up. Goldstein will take the mark.
Great attack on the football. He's really stood out this quarter, hasn't he? Davis Uniacke. And then just a smart little pop-up kick to Goldstein, who just works his way into a nice little bit of space.
I think that umpire might have just guessed, though.
You reckon it was a tiny bit kamikaze? He just put his head in and charged through.
Yeah, but he called it. The only arm that was high was the one away from the umpire. How could he have really seen? So, anyway.
Tops Goldstein. Couldn't do it in the ruck one-on-one. Can he do it here with a set shot? Looking for North Melbourne's third. He drags it out to the right from pretty much directly in front, 40 metres out from goal. So North Melbourne 2-5-17 to the Giants 9-4-58. 29 minutes gone second term. The margin is 41 points.
Haven't had many looks at it, but they have butchered some shots. So 2 goals, 5. They've had another one out of bounds on the full. It sticks out. The margin's 41 points the Giants' way as we close in on half-time. So Cumming plays on from the kick-out. Chips wide to Kennedy. Against the boundary line, City side. Long kick down the wing. Walker over the front of the pack. Knocks it out of play. And a boundary throw-in on the wing.
Have had more inside 50s in this quarter. 12-11. After in the first term, the Giants 17-7.
Davies Uniacke picked 4 in the 2017 draft. So he was 1 after Paddy Dow, but 1 before Adam Chera. Of course, went to Fremantle. Davies Uniacke with 9 in this quarter alone from the boundary throw-in. Maroons onto it. Anderson, hand pass away to Horn Francis. He's gang tackled, taken out of play. Nothing's come easy for him today. The number 1 pick. He's had 1 kick. It was right on the quarter-time siren. And other than that, his stat line reads 1 handball. And we've played almost 2 full quarters of footy. Boundary throw-in on the City wing. Half-hour mark, second quarter. G-Men by 41.
They've won the clearances in this quarter, North. 12-9 as Goldstein knocks it down to the front. Ash, though, for the Giants, trying to combine with Kelly. Looking to give it back to Ash, but runs out of room. And a throw-in on the City wing. Giants by 41 points. Got it to 42 during this second quarter. In terms of highest scores against North Melbourne, Brisbane put 11 goals on them in a half earlier in the season. Ward gathers from the clearance, kicks up towards Riccardi, charging out, brought it down to the front, to Bores onto it, hand pass over the top to Tom Green, squeeze the kick into the pocket, running onto it Hogan, but running out of room with Walker right there with him, and a throw in the right forward pocket for the Giants.
That's a hard problem when you're playing 6 forwards and 6 backs. There's always a lot of space around the stoppage, and the Giants' midfield just obviously a bit too classy and too experienced at the moment, just getting it a bit too easy inside 50.
Giants by 41, deep forward from the boundary throw-in. Goldstein palms it down. McDonald had it, lost it. The Giants win it back. Tom Green links up with Cornelio, and Cogs has got 3. GWS, their lead balloons out to 47 points on the stroke of half-time. GWS 10-4-64. GWS leading North Melbourne 2-5-17. 32 minutes played, second term grandstand AFL. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Been a bit of an issue, the forward 50 stoppages this quarter for North Melbourne. The Giants just had it a little bit too easy, and Caniglio's found himself in the end of 2 of them and kicked 2 really handy goals. He's playing a lot of good footy at the moment. So I'm really impressed by what I'm seeing. He just looks powerful. Looks like he's got his step again, doesn't he? And he's finding himself in some good areas.
Not just that, the ability of Tom Green to actually fight through the traffic and get it out to Matt DeBoer, flick it on then to Cogs. Very good.
He's a young star, isn't he?
Young star, yeah.
He's trying to find some positives for North, and a red time goal in the final minute won't do their coach any mood changes. Goldstein trying to emerge from the middle after the initial ball up. Got it to Anderson, hand pass to Simpkin, links up with Scott. Now to the run of Hall from half back. Is that a downfield free?
No, it's back.
It's off the ball.
Simkin on Dobie.
So as North were about to take a mark inside 50, it's going to come back to the middle of the ground. And Toby Green to take it. Just how Giants have scored their goals. 6 goals from stoppages, 4 from turnovers. As Toby Green has his legs taken out as he kicked inside 50, Curtis got underneath him. A chance for Core as he could have been held on to by Matt Tabor as he tried to soccer it clear. It's become a little bit messy in the last minute of the half.
So Toby very unlucky not to get another free there with young Curtis taking out his landing leg after sending that kick downfield. A short kick from Cole to Hall, and then he goes short to Anderson. Back flank. And this siren can't come soon enough. GWS by 47. Standalone game Sunday afternoon of round 13. The eyes of the footy world on North Melbourne to see what they've got after a 1-11 start to the season, a percentage in the low 50s. Well, at half-time, they're almost 8 goals behind against a team which sits just 2 places above them on the premiership table. GWS 10-4-64, North Melbourne 2-5-17. The Roos with 2 goals in that quarter. GWS kicking 5 against them at the other end. 3 for Jake Riccardi, 3 for Steve Cornelio, and then singles for Toby Green, Tanner Bruin, Peatling and De Boer. Meanwhile for North Melbourne, just the 2 goal kickers. They both came in that second quarter. 1 to Taylor, 1 to Larkey.
So their second most expensive half of footy. They conceded 11 goals against the Brisbane Lions back in round 3. But the margin on that occasion was 39 points. It's 47 here at Docklands. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, try and sum that up as best you can.
Wow. I think they were better in that second half of that second quarter, weren't they?
Yeah, they were much better.
They weren't tackling cactuses. They actually laid a few...
tackling cactuses. Let me just write that one down.
Yep. Yeah, there's another one for the file. That's a Mark Williams, Choco Williams phrase. He used to, if we were too afraid to get in there and get your chest on them, you were tackling a cactus. But no, to their credit, in and around the stoppage, they actually looked like they wanted to tackle and chase and not allow GWS just to have that open overlap run and play. So they were better, but they still struggled to capitalise, didn't they, with a couple of opportunities. 2-5 doesn't help. 5-2 probably looks a little bit more respectable, but even still, they're just being outplayed and outworked. The ability of the Giants forwards and wingers mids to be able to just get on the spread and outwork their direct opponent has been really evident. So, you've got to applaud the good work from Luke Davies-Uniacke. I thought his second quarter there was really, really impressive. His attack on the footy, probably could have kicked the goal himself. Jai Simpkins continuing to work hard. He's had the 17 to half time, but other than that, you struggle to go down. You look at a couple of their senior players in Greenwood and Stevenson, the 2 and 1 touch. I guess Stevenson's playing on the full forward line, essentially, and the ball hasn't been coming in, fluently.
No.
He needs it out in space. He needs it quick. He's not going to sit there and wrestle a Connor Iden or Harry Himmelberg, what's Himmelberg up to now? 20, but he had that halfway through that second quarter, so he went to sleep there. What happened there? He could have had a huge first half. So look, there's things to improve on, but you've got to...
What's the message, do you think, from Noble at half time? Is it try and take the scoreboard out of it and worry about trying to make your teammate better? Is it the defensive side of the game? Is it just actually going at a few individuals and saying we need more of a lift from you in this area, and that's all we're going to mark the game on in this particular area? Because at the moment they're just not getting enough out of enough players. There's too many on the stat sheet which just aren't featuring in the contest at the moment, just leaving it to too few. And I know Turner's had a job on Kelly. I mean, he's only had the 4 disposals, someone who's probably one of the better boys and probably adds a bit of spark. I think that's probably it's cool to drop that tag and give someone another opportunity. Maybe it's Horn Francis playing against Caniglio or something. And not to Kelly, because I don't think he'd be able to run with him. I think he's probably more of a chance to play up around the ball and maybe learn to play against someone like Caniglio who's going so well at the moment, or is it going head-to-head with Cal Ward, getting some opportunities, some experience to some of these guys? Because at the moment, if you just keep on going down the same path, what will they learn? I think it's pretty important to some of these young guys that they learn a few lessons out there in this second half and try and make their teammate better at the same time. I think that's something that at least you can walk off the ground and hang your hat on something at the end of the day. But at the moment, it just doesn't look like it, does it?
Purely as a statistical breakdown, 77 more disposals the Giants have had. The inside 50s are lopsided 31-18, so plus 13 in favour of the Giants. But around the ball, so from stoppages and centre bounce, it's pretty even. I mean, the clearances are 18-19, so plus 1 in favour of the Giants, and same with centre bounce, 6-5. North are actually winning that category.
Yeah, but they're falling down across half forward. They're really missing Cam Zerha, I think, up there in that forward half. And another tall target that can help out Nick Larkey. I feel like he's fighting a one-man battle down there, and it's just allowing. We spoke about Himmelberg, his ability is just going to drop off. But no one went and made a 2v1. No. Like, if you can allow Sam Taylor just to nudge out to big Nick Larkey, he's going to take mark after mark. And he's already, he's had 6 to 8 intercept possessions already. So he's playing his role, but you've got to make it hard for him.
Yeah, and I think even having Stevenson playing the deep forward, I don't think that can last too much longer. Like, he can play some role down there, but I think he needs to get around and try and use his leg speed and
get involved
and be someone who can get the ball at a half-back flank and try and get a chain of possession player up the ground and use his legs. But at the moment, he sort of just looks like a bit of no man's land, really.
The other, I mean, their balance is awkward because Goldstein's been one of their longest-serving players, and obviously he's a heart and soul type player. He was 286 games for the club, and as I mentioned earlier, he's played 100 in a row now for North Melbourne. And yet, one of their green shoots, their positive signs, is Tristan Sherry. And you got them both in the same team, and you're trying to sort of find a way to make it work. And you think, well, do we play them both and try to play one off the bench? Do you play one up forward to help Larkey out? Then they can't play Coleman Jones, and it just feels like they got 2 of the same guy, and then they're sort of one short in another area, which is that other key pillar to support Larkey.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think Goldstein, like what he would do is he's going to bring the other guys along quicker. You won't necessarily see that on game day because, as you said, you thought, well, what's the best mix? But in terms of having a really experienced ruckman who's been out there for 284 games, you said, and being an All-Australian player, being an absolute star, you can't. You need to have him there for longevity and be there as long as he can to try and help these other guys come up. I think you're seeing at the moment it looks a bit clunky, but I think they just need to have time where Goldstein needs to go and support obviously the lack of tall up forward for them and get in good spots to be able to just bring the ball to ground at the very least. But I think it's important to still have your experienced players out there trying to show the way.
As we head to the news lids, Michael from Ballarat wants to know, as a frustrated North or Kangaroo supporter, how do you coach your team not to fall asleep on defence? It makes no sense if the player is no longer interested in what the coach is asking. I think you were touching on that in terms of the team defence, the zone, the one-on-one.
Yeah.
What sort of style are they trying to play? And the only other part I'd add to that is Jack Siebel's had 4 disposals. He's had 2 kicks, 0% kicking efficiency, and yet he's played predominantly across half-back in the last couple of seasons. Is it time to swing him back just to try and give him a bit more leadership in that defensive half?
Well, I think he was moved out of that back line, though, because he was being found out with lack of leg speed. I think you can't question Jack's toughness and hardness, and obviously his leadership down there, which they probably do need, but was getting probably found out the other way a little bit. So that's why they moved him forward, to try and give him that same thing, but on the flip side in the front end. So in terms of the defensive side of things, Clinchy, you can't learn that in the space of 20 minutes at half-time. That's got to be an ingrained thing that they'll work on over many summers. And then you build that trust and communication between each teammate, the half-back working with the wing, who then goes with the half-forward. It just works up and down the line seamlessly. But that's going to take months of pre-seasons, or years of pre-seasons, not just happening over 20 minutes.
And they're in a rebuild. So you can't expect them just to come out and go, oh, that's exactly what they stand for, and you're going to see that week on week. You're going to see it at the moment, as I've spoken about with Goldstein and the other ruckman, just sometimes it looks a little bit clunky. They're still trying to work out who they want to be and where they want to get to. So these are they're hard watches at the moment for a side that is still probably a good 4 or 5 years away from getting somewhere near playing finals, really. But it's just a tough watch for North fans, but it's you hear through the tough periods, and then hopefully in years to come you'll be there looking back at these times going, oh, it was well worth it, because some of these young guys have learnt the hard way about playing AFL football.
Andy from Wodonga, hello ABC men, Murph, M-U-R, HFF and Lids. You two do a great job, not too negative, humorous, great insights, not over talkers or competitive between the two of you. It's a great little combination.
Thanks,
and
Andy.
he's put in brackets. ABC, read it out. They deserve it. Well, there you go, Andy. They'll go to the pies and the sausage rolls are there.
If I fit through the door, I've got a big head now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have read it out.
I know you wouldn't have called me, but I'm a team player. And Freo, the Freo Cookster says, can't wait for North Melbourne and the Eagles games. What a blockbuster. Well, that's been and done. And North Melbourne won that one. Yeah. Half-time here at Docklands, the Giants leading by 47 points. Let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. The Minister for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, Bill Shorten, says he'll meet with legal aid lawyers and legal advocates this week as he vows to restore trust in the system. Mr. Shorten says the NDIS is a bureaucratic nightmare and it's appalling. The agencies administering the scheme has spent $40 million in legal fees in less than a year. He says he wants to talk to those who've interacted with the system about what he describes as stupidities in the way the Commonwealth has pursued litigation.
I think people will be appalled to know that whilst the NDIS is making decisions it has to, some people won't be happy. What we're seeing is top end of town law firms being charged a lot of money to basically drag out cases so that people give up on their claims. That's not the way an empathetic scheme should be run.
8 people have been rescued from the summit of Hobart's Mount Wellington after becoming trapped by extreme weather. Wild conditions have lashed Tasmania with heavy snow and damaging winds, toppling trees and leading to several rescues. Tasmanian Police Assistant Commissioner Adrian Bodner says at least 2 people rescued are very lucky to be alive.
Now, to be honest, these 2 ladies are very, very lucky to be alive. They were very dangerous conditions. Talking to the search controller this morning, I understand that the weather chill factor up on the mountain last night was around -6 degrees. So both of these ladies were very lucky they were found.
Thousands of demonstrators have been rallying across the United States demanding gun control laws following last month's massacre at a Texas elementary school. March for Our Lives, a gun safety group funded by student survivors of the 2018 massacre at a Florida high school, is organizing the marches in hundreds of U.S. cities. The group's Mariah Cooley says it's time to finally address the problem of gun violence.
Americans are tired of sending their children, their siblings, their cousins off to school, fearing that they will be the victims of another mass shooting. Elders can't even go to a grocery store with the safety of knowing that they won't be a victim of a violent attack.
Food security fallout from the war in Ukraine will be at the forefront of discussions at the World Trade Organization's ministerial conference in Geneva. The Russian blockade of grain exports from the Black Sea is threatening global food supplies, but member states are taking different approaches to Moscow, as the BBC's Darshini David explains.
As they grapple with the fallout from the war in Ukraine, the issue of food security and the role of Moscow will be at the forefront of trade ministers' minds. While the likes of the UK and America are cutting commercial ties with Russia, others, such as Turkey and India, are still very reliant on it for staples such as wheat and oil. Ongoing debates about fishing rights and whether there should be patent protection waivers for COVID vaccines will also be on the agenda, as will potential changes to the way the World Trade Organization itself operates.
2 Indian teenagers have been killed in clashes between Hindus and Muslims in northeastern India following derogatory remarks about the Prophet Muhammad by 2 ruling party officials. Police opened fire to break up the violence in the city of Ranchi and Jharkhand state, but it's not known if the victims were killed by police or the rioters. 14 police officers were also injured in the clashes. Senior police official Surendra Kumar Jha says authorities have laid dozens of charges over the violence.
Cases have been registered under 29 serious offense sections. There are 70 accused that have been named and over 5,000 other mischievous individuals that are unnamed that stand accused. They are being identified through video footage. Many people were arrested during the protest and some people were arrested after they were questioned.
The WA branch of the Australian Nurses Federation says the state's at risk of losing more nurses and midwives if they don't match incentives given to employees in the eastern states. New South Wales has recently announced a $3,000 bonus for frontline workers and a 3.5% wage increase for public sector employees. Victoria is giving healthcare employees a $3,000 bonus and free meals for night shift workers. The Federation's Assistant Secretary, Janet Ray, says the WA government should do more considering the record-breaking budget surplus.
We cannot open more beds without nurses. We cannot fix ambulance ramping without more nurses. And we cannot fix the health system without more nurses.
And the Australian Wallaroos have been beaten 16 points to 14 by the USA in their rugby test in Auckland. The Americans led 13-0 at halftime and withstood a fight back from the Wallaroos in the second half. You're up to date with the very latest from ABC News.
Massive interest rate cuts from the
25% increase.
Infectious.
Keep across the news that matters to you with the ABC Listen app.
Get up-to-the-minute local, national and world news, live and on demand.
US and NATO officials believe
in-depth investigations from ABC podcasts.
Like Triple J's Hack, ABC News Daily and many more.
All the news that matters to you.
With the ABC Listen app.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Boundary throwing right in front of their goal as it spills down to Cornelio. Chucks it on the left boot. Through it goes. More of the same to start the second.
Hayden's kick was picked off by Hayden. Kicks inside 50. That's a good mark from Taylor. Flying in from the left. He's able to reach over the top and pull in the mark. One of 7 Roos who's played every game in 2022. Taylor comes in, beautiful off the boot, and finally, North are on the board. Out pass to Cornelio. He's used it superbly so far and spots out Matt DeBoer. He wants to put it into the pocket. It was on display for everyone to see, and Riccardi takes the mark just inside the boundary. He's got the drop punt in his hand. Jake Riccardi shooting for goal number 3. It's a good effort as it sails straight over the goal umpire's hat.
From the boundary throwing, Goldstein palms it down. McDonald had it, lost it. The Giants win it back. Tom Green links up with Cornelio, and Cogs has got 3.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Half-time at Docklands in Melbourne as round 13 of the AFL continues. The standalone Sunday match featuring GWS and North Melbourne, and it's the Giants who lead by 47 points at the main break. 10-4-64 to North Melbourne, 2-5-17. 3 goals for Steve Cornelio and to Jake Riccardi. Matt Clinch calling the action alongside Corbin Middlemass. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are your experts with Jess Webster down on the boundary. In terms of other sport taking place at the moment, of course, we've got the Queen's Birthday Clash still to come tomorrow, Melbourne and Collingwood. The Sliders will take place in the pre-game, so looking forward to bringing you all the excitement and action that takes place there. In the NRL, of course, round 14 with State of Origin last week. So today the Seagulls have had a win over the West Tigers, 30 points to 4. In the mid-match, it's the Penrith Panthers leading the Newcastle Knights 18-0. So that match is 33 minutes old. And the match tonight sees the Cronulla Sharks take on the Warriors. What else have I missed, Corby?
No, that's the major
What was on Offsiders today on ABC iView, which I'll be watching tonight?
Ask Murph. He watched.
If you want to catch up.
Murph was watching. Tony Armstrong was on the panel.
Yeah, strong kid.
Nice to hear from. It's nice to hear from Tone. We haven't had him on Offsiders for a while. He's
in the TV breakfast world now. He's the hard man.
Next Sunday he's at the Logie, so he's nominated, of course.
I can't wait to see his kid there.
Well, no wonder he's not hanging out with us.
Is he best young talent? Is he?
Yeah. So he's vote for him. You can jump on and vote now on the Logies for Tony next week. So he was on Bianca Chatfield talking about the netball. Of course, the Super Netball Grand Final has already been moved to Perth, so it's caused a lot of controversy, and Jamie Pandaram as well from the Daily Telegraph for all the wash-up out of Origin. So it's a big episode today. Murph was watching.
I was tuned in. I had that on in conjunction with the Wiggles, so Dorothy the Dinosaur and Captain Feathersword were getting a good run at that point in the morning, so I couldn't quite hear what you were saying, Corby, but you looked good.
Thank you.
Which is the most important thing.
I was going to say, who had the better kit, the Wiggles or Corby? Did you get much on Sri Lanka beating Australia in Offsiders?
A little bit on Dashun Shanako, who hit they need 59 off the last 3 overs, and they got
smacked them. I watched that this morning.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
The other one's the Azerbaijan Grand
Formula
Prix,
One,
which is on tonight. I noticed you're wearing the Lewis Hamilton silver arrow hat, which
I should have expected a return, sir.
Murph pointed
didn't
it
go
out.
unnoticed.
So that's on tonight, 9 p.m. Very
looks like it's been worn to death too, by the looks of it too. It's like a shade of white, isn't it? It's sort of the off-white.
Yeah, like Dan Ricciardo. It's been under the car as much as it's been on top.
Very fan-friendly time slot today, so 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time tonight.
You might be to stay for that one, Lids.
Oh, yeah, I might. I don't think so, though. If it's on in the pub, I'll probably be there. I'll see it.
Players are out in position. Can we get an update from Jess Webster? She's had some.
Always.
Are you there, Jess?
I am Clinchy. I had a chat to a few of my sources during halftime. Just a quick update on the crowd. Apparently 13,500 here. So not a great crowd, but at least they will avoid the record for lowest ever crowd here at this venue.
Under 9,000 back in 2009, Melbourne and GWS. Thank you, Jess. That service list hasn't been our friend today trying to get up and down, but we're all in position and ready to go for the second half. The Giants leading by 47 points. North Melbourne having conceded 10 goals. Only against Brisbane earlier in the season have they conceded more.
We asked you about the number one pick before the start of the game. Hasn't been busy for him. That first half, just the 2 touches, one of them after the siren at quarter time.
Yeah, we're going to have to be on watch a little bit just to see his attitude. And I've been on this ground before, the hands of the hiding to the Cats, and knowing what that can be like when things just aren't going your way. Footy's not fun when that's happening. So we just want to see him get more involved, show a bit of energy, a bit of a spark.
And he's starting in the square, which is good.
Jason Horne-Francis, just the 2 disposals. GWS by 47. As we enter the second half, Flynn gets the hit out, but there's a free kick for an illegal Shepherd going against Flynn, and the Roos will get it through Goldstein. So how the game started with a free kick to the Roos big man and a centre break. Kicks for Zeeble over his fingers. Slips through to Himmelberg. He's tackled, dispossessed. Falls to Anderson. Trickles a kick to the goal square. But Cummings back, saving the day for the Giants. His kick smothered. Ricochets to Taylor. Taylor hand pass to Powell. He's locked up and a ball up. Forward pocket for the Roos. So nice forward pressure from Curtis Taylor. Laid the smother. And locked the ball in the front half for the Roos.
Thrown up, Goldstein doing the ruck work against Flynn and then tries to follow up, lays the tackle on Kennedy. Yeah, good support from Paul Curtis, and the umpire will throw it up.
Horne-Francis did line up on Stephen Caniglio in the centre square, so it'll be interesting to see if he sticks with that matchup.
Kane Turner's gone to Josh Kelly. Tapped down beautifully to Anderson. He almost squeezed it through, but put it out on the full, just the wrong side of the left behind post. So the Giants still by 47 points.
Now, if you've ever been tagged when your team's been absolutely thumping a side, you feel a bit dirty.
Being thumped? Or
No, well, you're on the winning team, but you're the one getting tagged.
You're the one picked out.
Usually in pre-season games back in the day, one of the young blokes would usually get the job, and in pre-season games, everyone's running around getting touches, and it's an absolute nightmare. But he's working through it, Kelly, at the moment, really well, and Kane Turner just looks like he's a bit lost at sea, just trying to chase him around. And when you're trying to tag someone when their team's going really well, it's a tough gig.
Canelio goes short to Tom Green, and his kick down the boundary line is whacked out of play by Lockie Young. So we've got a boundary throw in. Just forward of the wing for North Melbourne, dockside. As Zeeble tries to swat it down. Tom Green tackled by Anderson, dispossessed. Ward on his knees, got it out by hand to Ash, to Canelio by hand to Kelly. Still defensive side of the wing, hand pass to Ward. First Giant today to 200 games. He kicks down to half forward. Green up strong. That's Toby. Can't complete the mark. Falls to Hogan. He's tackled and he's caught with the footy. Incorrect disposal. And a free kick for North Melbourne and Josh Walker. The North Melbourne will get it at half back for the Roos. GWS by 47 points, 2.5 minutes into the third term.
Over 130 games for Josh Walker, 3 clubs, up towards Goldstein, couldn't take the mark. Himmelberg tries to knock it clear, spills out to Davies Uniacke, kick smothered by Ward, finds Canelio, hand pass to Ash, works it further afield. And the mark is taken by Peatling. Still not up to half forward for the Giants, as his eyes dart in the middle of Docklands. No options really presenting other than Tom Green. Does he want to be brave and thread the needle? Decides to just kick a high ball around Young, up towards the top of the 50. Sproul got underneath it, and it was volleyed out on the full by Kelly, and North Melbourne will take it on the defensive 50. Giants by 47 points, 3 minutes gone third term. No scorers yet.
So the Roos to bring it back into play through Taylor. He goes short to Turner. Out of North's leadership group, Kane Turner with that defensive job at the moment. Hand pass to Scott, and he chips short to Horn Francis. And here he is, the youngest man on the ground, the number 1 pick, with just his second kick for the day. And it's a long drop punt down to Goldstein and also Zeeble, but Flynn swats it down, grabs possession, dumps a kick down the wing, and leaping forward. A good mark for Peatling. Right in front of the interchange gates for the Giants. He plays on, chips it along the line to Hogan, who marks just forward of the wing for GWS.
Hogan comes inboard. Zadam Kennedy presents. He marks just in front of the AFL logo. So the Giants still looking to go inside 50 for the first time in this third term. As he hand passes it into the middle of the ground for Himmelberg. Hasn't had an opponent for a lot of the afternoon. Wider to Cumming, who kicks out to the city wing. Keith takes the mark. He can advance it forward, although Whitfield dropped the mark. Open the door for Stevenson, who runs onto it. Hand pass wide of Curtis. He now has to try and gather as he's got Whitfield for company. The two stand over the footy. Stevenson tries to use his body to get involved, and a little toe poke out on the full. And it's going to be a North free kick. It's off the boot, or is it Whitfield's free? Both are trying to claim the free kick. The boundary umpire saw it, and it's Lockie Whitfield's free kick.
Immediately goes short to Keith. It's not 15, so he's going to have to try and push away power. Giants under the pump. Hand pass to Cornelio. Goes back by hand to Cumming. Halfback for GWS. Kicks down the wing to Ward. Handball away to the running Josh Kelly, who kicks inside the forward 50. He was dumped after getting rid of it, and he's still down, and all of a sudden there's a melee, and Horn Francis is involved in all of that. So Kelly was fouled after getting rid of the footy. And Toby Green's going to get the downfield free kick at left half forward.
It's a big swinging arm from Horn Francis. Just getting a look at it now.
Not sure you can do that on the footy field in today's day and age.
Oh, jeez. That is a roundhouse with the right arm across the chops of Josh Kelly, and he's getting up and having a bit of a chat to the youngster who has barely seen it today, clearly frustrated, and now a crude act costs his team a shot at goal as Toby Green can't make him pay here. He misses out to the left and behind. But Jason Horn Francis, a quiet day, and now I'm sure a bit of scrutiny from the match review officer.
Hall tries to go straight down the middle for North towards Simpkins. Couldn't take the mark. Kelly for the Giants back into the middle of the ground. Kennedy with a crucial tap out towards Ash, who becomes the tackler on Scott. Larkey tries to knock it to Davies Junior. Gets it to Taylor. Kick towards Anderson. Spoiled away by Taylor. Read it superbly. Gets the hand pass to Tom Green. Through the middle of Docklands. Down low for De Boer. He takes the mark, and Young has to be careful not to give away 50. And now he has. So Peatling will get 50. He'll be taken from the middle of Docklands to about 15 metres out. And North, the frustration is just starting to boil over with a couple of individuals.
Yeah, it is. It's unlucky. You just move off your line. You're trying to stop them from getting that quick play, which is something you've done from the moment you started playing footy. So, stiff, big penalty to pay, isn't it?
Kicked 3 goals last week. James Peatling, he has 1 already from directly in front. He now has 2. And the Giants kick the first goal of the second half to extend their lead out to 54 points. 11-5-71 to North Melbourne, 2-5-17. So, I mean, to combine the two, the Horn Francis with the frustration that'll no doubt get looked out, wanting to physically impose himself, but whenever you make contact to a player's head, you know you're going to be in trouble, and Young's just given away a 50 in frustration.
Yeah, it's a real discipline issue, isn't it, in terms of being able to stay on task. I know you're getting frustrated, young Jason, but there's other ways to show it, certainly within the rules.
Well, I think the only positive to come out of that is that Kelly didn't go off with a cheekbone or something like that.
100%.
So it'd be pretty keen to see Josh Kelly play out the entirety of this game, for sure.
9 goals now the margin, a new game high in favour of GWS. They kick the first goal of the third quarter. Back in the middle, first clean disposal for Kel Ward. Hand pass away to Tanner Bruin. He drives a kick out of the centre square. Hall dropping back in front of the Giants forwards. He takes the intercept mark. And he's 150th today. Also, Luke McDonald celebrating the same milestone. Both of them came out with their kids through the banner in game 150. Short kick to Davies Uniacke, short to Aidan Core. The second-year-oo up against the Giants, his old team for the first time, told to go. Goes on a bit of a run and kicks to the wing. Sherry the target, it slips through to Powell. Hand pass back to Perez for North. Kicks looking for Curtis. Misses him. The big man Sherry keeps on moving between wing and half forward. His kick slides off the side of the boot. In the end, it's going to work out as Goldstein takes a juggled mark against the boundary line. I'm not certain that was his first option, but Sherry and Goldstein link up, and now the 200-plus centimetre Todd Goldstein's going to shoot from wide out at right half forward.
Don't draw pictures, which is lucky for Big Tristan.
Let's see how he goes from out at right half forward. That long left-footed drop part of the pack of players in the goal square. Stevenson shovels out a hand pass. Larky's kick smothered. Ricochets to Cal Ward off the back flank for the Giants.
And give the hand pass to Canelio. Kicks up to Riccardi, who marks on his chest at right half-back. Giants by 54. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, Josh Kelly came to the bench just to get checked out after that incident with Horne-Francis. They've had a look at the vision. He all appears okay, so good news for Josh Kelly. And I think Horne-Francis maybe is sighing a bit of relief there as well.
Thanks, Jess. The Giants switch it to the left back pocket where Iden can work it up. Mark taken by Ware as he spots Steen free on the wing. And now Ware too, the medical sub into the action. Decides to go back into the middle of the ground. Iden takes the mark. Unfortunately, Harry Perryman subbed out of the match early in the second quarter. After having to go to the hospital after a heavy collision. Out to Perryman in front, to Himmelberg in front of the two benches. Kicks towards half forward. Riccardi got it down around a couple of North players to Ward. Kicks towards the attacking goalmouth. Hogan in from the side, couldn't take the mark. McDonald gathers. Hand pass, slipping over at the wrong time was Curtis. Gathered by Cumming, kicks into the pocket. Peatling can't take the mark. As it's spoiled out of play for a boundary throw-in.
A little slow to get up, James Peatling as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, when those handballs miss coming out of your defensive 30, they're lucky they didn't get a goal against it real quick.
Giants by 9 goals, 10 minutes into the third term for the boundary throw-in. Swatted down by Sherry. G. Perez just hands it straight up to Peatling, who snaps but hits the post. Gee, that would have been costly and a behind. When I mean costly, I mean even more expensive than what it already is. GWS by 55 points. 11 minutes played in the third term. 11 goals to 2 for the day, so it's been pretty grim so far for North again.
Simon from Lance Bay has a question around team defence for Murphy Lids. We'll just wait as North gets out of defence because it has been problematic. Young to McDonald to Core, who switches it out to Simpkin, who takes the mark at right half back. Simon wants to know if midfielders in team defence are allocated specific players to pick up.
No, it's certainly not. Not in team defence. You just need to take the nearest bloke next to you.
So there you go, Simon. Great to have the insights of a couple of the contemporary players. To Greenwood at half back, under pressure, has to get a hand pass to Horne-Francis, back inside the defensive 50 to Aaron Hall. He looks to switch it out to right half back. Up went Simpkin, competes in the air with Peatling, and now sliding in. Here's Ware over the footy. He can't rip it clear as Simpkin comes over the top to lock it up at left half forward for the Giants.
Just to expand on that, you tend to get holes picked through. If you're one guy specific, you can follow him. There's a big hole for someone else to lead into, so you've got to guard grass. 1.5, like Murph spoke to a little bit about before.
And where it becomes problematic too is when you give a tagging role to someone who's not necessarily a tagger as well, because then they just decide to stick with their direct opponent, and then opens up little gaps as well. So team defence is all about playing for one another and doing the right thing by a teammate rather than just worrying about one individual.
Giants by 55 points from the boundary throw-in. Sherry and Flynn bang bodies. Flynn wins the hit out, but down to Greenwood of North. Hand pass away to Perez, chips down the wing to Curtis. Curtis pulls the trigger back in the corridor to Hall. He moves it long to Larkey. Taylor flew early, and Nick Larkey takes the juggled mark. 20 out, straight in front.
Nice bit of ball movement from the North boys. With that little target, that 50 to 70 out is what broke the whole play up to young Curtis. And then they had Aaron Hall streaming past, which is what he's made a career out of, running hard off half-back, linking up. Not a bad kick into Suvlaki after that.
Here he is, the 24-year-old for his second. Pops it through. And North Melbourne have their third. It's taken them as many quarters to get there. 13 minutes into the third term, North Melbourne 3-5-23, chasing the game big time. GWS 11-6-72, Giants by 49, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Yeah, it was good because they did win a nice ball at the contest, and then just a nice little change of angle which opens up the defence, and it just doesn't allow the defenders to drop off and know exactly where the ball's coming. And then a good ball user in Aaron Hall just found Larky, and it was actually quite good forward craft just to work his defender underneath the ball and then take a nice grab and go back from 35 out and put one straight through the big sticks.
When you're not getting many looks, you've got to make them count, don't you?
Got to make the most of it, that's sure.
The second goal for Nick Larky, up to 22 goals for the season without Cam Zurha in recent weeks. So North pull it back to under 50. Back in the middle, Goldstein wins down the tap. Kelly tackled, dispossessed, Turner right there with him. And the footy's locked underneath a couple of players. With Hugh Greenwood slow to rise and Cal Ward right on the very bottom of the pack. Thrown up, Goldstein taps it down. Bruin is able to gather for the Giants. Hand pass taken high was Weir. He'll take the free kick on the City wing.
I think he's one of only two left-footers in this team for GWS today, so Josh Kelly, obviously the notable other, as Ware just chips his kick out wide to Kennedy. Goes short to Iden, not 15, said the umpire. As Iden pokes the pass down the wing but turns it over. Intercept mark to Bailey Scott. So North on the City wing, short kick to Perez. Giants by 49, but North with the footy here, surging forward on the City wing again. Hand pass to Scott, feeds it further forward to Davies Uniacke, kicks long, Z-ball up on the behind line, he can't mark. Swatted out of play, 3 Giants back in support, and Himmelberg knocks it out of bounds, so a throw in alongside the behind post. Deep forward for North, and they've been okay with these set play situations or from stoppages today. Can this result in a score?
Goldstein prepares himself against Sproul, who's bouncing around really unsure what to do, and he's given away the free kick. He never really looked comfortable there and wrapped the arms around Todd Goldstein and gave away the free kick.
No, you could see our boy Zachy Sproul there just looked a little bit at sea, didn't he? You could just see that he's going to give away a free kick or just allow first use to Goldstein, and Big Todd finds himself with a chance to hit the scoreboard.
Here he is, Todd Goldstein, pretty much directly in front. Back-to-back goals for the Roos. So Goldstein joins Taylor and Larky with a couple of goals, as North Melbourne's 4 goals are on the board. 4-5-29 to the Giants, 11-6-72. And on an afternoon which has been pretty tough, Todd Goldstein was able to capitalise there, and maybe they might draw a picture for that one, Liz, as to how you meant to do it.
Well, they would for the kick, but not for...
I think for the ruck.
Not Zachy Sproul's ruck craft. All he was trying to focus on is, I've got to give a contest here and not allow my mids to be done on the fly here from the North Melbourne midfielders. So he tries his best, but as soon as he was out of position, he wrapped both arms around. As soon as you do that, the umpire's like, boop, there's a free kick against. He already had one side of Big Toddy Goldstein that knocked that second one through very comfortably.
What's he like, Lids? 43 points, the lead for GWS, a couple in a row for North Melbourne. Anderson got the hit out from Goldstein, hand pass to Davies Uniacke, back to Goldie, back to Anderson, kicks inside the forward 50, but Himmelberg's there to chop it off. He had 20 disposals in the first quarter and a half, Harry Himmelberg. He's had just the 2 since. You can make it 3 here as he goes on a run and kicks down the dockside wing. Pete Lean slipping through his hands, mopped up by Young, so North keep it in the front half. Scott tried the 1-2 with Hayden, picked off though by Ward, who comes racing away with it down the wing for the Giants. Hand pass to De Boer, keeps it alive by Riccardi, a little too cute, trying to slap it back in. Still hasn't gone out. Falling over the top of De Boer was Lockie Young. I'm not sure that was intentional, but De Boer had his head bounce off the turf with a contact from Young over his upper back. And immediately there's a bit of concern from the trainers, and a wrestle ensues behind him. But
I thought he was very generous there, Corby. I thought he was pretty crude.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he was quite crude there.
Right. Okay. Big Bass Moses nearly got a kick there. JP Peatling's given Matty De Boer the ball as he's getting checked.
And Cal Ward decided that was one warning too many, as the kick from De Boer inside the 50 spoiled away by the North defence, and it goes out of play in front of Steve Cornelio. Does some nice little soccer work up against the boundary line.
I thought he sort of went to tackle him, and then as the ball went to ground, he all of a sudden fell into his back. But maybe I'll need to see the replay.
Lockie Young gave away the 50-metre penalty earlier, so he's boiling at the moment. Sproul, there's some good ruck work. Spinned out of traffic, got the hand pass away to Ward in his milestone 200th game for the Giants. It's just the wrong side of the right goal stick, and a minor score. Giants by 44 points, but North have kicked 2-1 in this third term.
Nice bit of ruck craft and clearance there from Zach Sproul. Almost finished off well by Cal Ward.
Call from the kick out, long to the wing. Keefe arriving late, just knocks it out of play for GWS, and a throw in between wing and half forward for the Giants.
She's a big man, isn't he? Lockie Keefe. He's a monster.
For a freezing cold day, he'd still be sweating though. He sweats really hard, Big Keefe.
It's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, it's just insights you get, I suppose.
Yes. Giants by 44. Sproul still rucking. One ahead out here. Whitfield clever. Taps it to the advantage of Toby Green, who's copying some jeers as he kicks down to half forward, and Curtis Taylor drops in the hole to take the intercept mark. Half back for the Roy boys. They're 44 points behind, but they've kicked the last 2 goals and they're winning the quarter.
Oh, Taylor, who to into the middle of the ground and bounces in front of Sam Taylor, who gets the hand pass to Himmelberg through the middle of the ground. Ward bumped as he got his kick to Whitfield. They've got plenty of options. Decides to send it long towards Bruin and Hayden. Hayden got rid of him illegally. Not sure there was all that much in that. There was a battle of strength, and in the end, the umpires paid the free kick.
Yep, Lockie Whitfield off his left boot. What would you rate him out of 10?
Out of 10, 8, 9.
Okay.
Elite. He would go around the whole drill and just kick on his left. He's like Sam Mitchell, comfortable either way.
Just looks very balanced, doesn't he? Either way, you probably couldn't tell if you didn't know which foot he actually was most predominantly kicking with. So he's one of the more fluid movers out there.
Tanner Bruin, a chance to kick his second. Pick 12 back in 2020. Comes in pretty much directly in front and is able to poke it through into the Giants fans behind the goals. He's kicked his second, as have GWS in this third term. So 2 goals apiece, and it's back to a 50-point margin. The Giants 12-7-79 in North Melbourne, 4-5-29. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Jess Webster on the boundary. The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts.
I didn't see a lot in that one, Murph. I thought it was a pretty good show of strength from both players, jostling for position. Tanner Bruin just tried to push off at the last moment to get off and get some separation. I thought that was just a good contest. Bit unlucky, I think, there, young Hayden.
Yeah, I thought it was a very even contest and very, very stiff not to allow that to play on. But anyway, they're back in the centre square.
Back to 50 points, the margin. Charlie Lazaro is the sub for North Melbourne. He hasn't been used so far. The Giants forced to make theirs early in the second. So Jake Steen into the game, and Harry Perryman is off to hospital after a heavy collision early in the second quarter to get a few of his ribs checked out, no doubt. We've got a secondary ball up inside the centre square, so going nowhere in a hurry from the restart here at Docklands as Sherry swats it down. Simpkin for the Roos, hand pass to Scott, smothered by Bruin, comes back to Scott, still with the Roos to Horn Francis, spun around, hand pass away to Simpkin, sold it to Young, and he was in trouble immediately as he's run down by Sproul, and a ball up front edge of the centre square for the Giants. GWS by 50, time on third term.
Sherry into the ruck against Flynn, got it down to Davies Uniacke, tries to break a tackle, hand pass to Simpkin, lost it, Peatling gets the hand pass away, it all opens up in front of Canelio, but Corr's there to take the mark at the top of the defensive goal square.
Getting some cheers too from the Giants fans down here. Hayden Corr.
Steve Canelio with 3 goals as Corr goes short. Lockie Young, not a great kick, turns it straight over. And Josh Kelly happy to take that one. Charges into 50, kicks along to the goal mouth. Corr gets a fist onto it. The Giants still have numbers though. Gathered by Bruin, hard against the boundary. Hand pass to Ash. His kick is smothered by Horn Francis. And a boundary thrown in the right forward pocket for the Giants.
Any Hayden Corr fun facts for us, lads?
Nickname Apples.
Apples.
Have we got to that stage, have we, of the game? Although after the Lockie key, he sweats a lot, we can only go upwards.
I've got a follow-up question, but I might ask that.
I like apples. I like it.
Ask it off there. 98 games for the Giants, playing against his old team for the first time from the boundary throw-in. Simpkin from the stoppage exits defensive 50. Picked off by Ash. Hand pass out wide. GKO and Anderson run into one another. Ball comes out to Tom Green. Giants with it. Hand pass to Ash. He gives it to Ware. Tumbles a kick to the top of the goal square. Riccardi crashes into two roos. Spills down to Sproul. He shoots goalward. And a behind. Gee, that was a big collision. Josh Walker and Aidan Core both in that pack with Riccardi. They picked themselves up and they're okay. A behind on the board for GWS. So Giants by 51, time on third quarter.
Hall brings North Melbourne back into play. Short to Scott. Aaron Hall with 16 disposals. Simpkin with 22. And Scott sends it towards half back. Big fly from Taylor on the back of Lockie Keefe. Came down with a footy and a great spring.
There's a highlight.
Something for North Melbourne fans to show on the highlights reel. Taylor towards Horn, Francis and Larkey. It clears the pack. Cornelio races onto it at the back. Hand pass to Flynn. Hand passes around Sherry. Ash cleverly knocked it to the advantage of Keefe. Now just has to gather. He didn't do that all that cleanly. And now a chance for North Melbourne to lock it in. Anderson dives in. He'll win a free kick holding the footy. And North will take it at left half forward with Matt Flynn over the footy and not much he could do.
Anderson kicks into the pocket and there's Larkey. Bit of space in the forward pocket. The kick went in that direction and Larkey just able to run into the space and hug it to his chest. He'll shoot 5 in from the boundary line from about 20 out.
Well, smart there from Jed Anderson. He knew that the numbers weren't going to get back in time, so wheel and go as soon as he got the football and then put it into a great little pocket of space for Larkey, and just a beautiful use of the footy.
Nick Larkey, their 24-year-old key forward. He's got 2 already. He'll settle with the 2 for now as he misses near side. Behind. 4-6 to 12-8. It's 50 points neat for GWS. Time on in this third term.
They have taken more marks inside 50, North Melbourne, 8-6. On a day where we're trying to find small positives. Himmelberg into coming, straight down the middle. Good kick to Whitfield, slips the hand pass to Josh Kelly, cruising by, up towards Sproul at half forward. He marks on his chest. Still 55 metres out. Has Toby Green short over the top. He marks in the left forward pocket.
Well, I watched him closely this thing, so I was actually thinking Luke McDonald's actually done a really good job today in quelling the influence of Toby Green. Geez, he got on his bike hard and he just come on the ground, so he's fresh, obviously. Worked right across. Thought he might have got one from Josh Kelly.
Is he a great runner, Toby Green?
Yeah, really
power,
hard worker.
Runner.
Worked up the front end of time trialling.
Yep.
1-1 from his 10 disposals this afternoon. Just inside 50 as Green veers out to the right and hooks it badly. Misses everything. Out to the left, out of bounds on the full. Maybe just looking for that extra yard of distance. No change to the score. Giants by 50 points.
Maybe a pointy ball there, Corby.
Yes. I noticed you a bit of a trendsetter last week. You were talking about the pointy balls on Sunday, and
Kane Collins must have heard me. Yeah.
Turned on Footy Class, and there's our man Kane running the same theory. Well, that's not a good kick.
That wasn't apples.
Scott tried to kick it straight down the pipe. It slips past his intended target, and then Turner grabs the footy. He's locked up. And a ball up. Dangerous kick there from Bailey Scott. Now we've got a stoppage inside the forward 50 for the Giants. Spills to Ward. Hand pass to Cornelio. Chucks it on the boot. Trying to bend it through. It does clear the behind line, but it's off target. Cornelio kicks up 3 all in the first half. Giants lead it by 51.
Hall dashing out of defence. Wants to move it quickly. Finds Hayden on the defensive 50.
I was just going to say, Stephen Caniglio, he's looking like the player from 4 or 5 years ago, isn't he? He looks really fit. Looks like he's got his agility back and getting close to hitting the scoreboard. He's kicked 3 already with a chance to kick another 2.
Up to the wing. Flynn dropped the mark he should have taken. Hand pass came from Sherry to Curtis. Kicks inside 50. Up in front was Taylor. Couldn't take the mark. Ash almost run down by Larkey. Great chase. Hand pass it straight to the boundary. And now the umpire read the script. Insufficient intent. And North will get the free kick deep in the left forward pocket. Now, it should be Larkey, shouldn't it? But Taylor's going to end up with
deliberate. It was a good tackle and chase by Larkey.
It was.
But Taylor sensed it and just put in a couple of hard ones. Yeah. I'll get over there quickly. What's this pocket like, Murph? The other one was really hard, but this one...
Nah, it's an easier pocket from here.
Is it?
Lids.
Yeah, okay.
Curtis Taylor kicked a goal in the second term from not far from where the North Melbourne players make their way off the ground. Veers out to the right, kicks it towards the goal mouth. The Giants are well set with Flynn back there alongside Taylor, and they punch it through for a minor score. GWS by 50 points.
I'm disappointed in you both that you left it to Clenchy to say that's where the players have the shot from before they go off the ground, which is...
Everyone gets sick of hearing it from me. I say it every time.
That's what we got to say. That's our obligation. As the Giants out of the defensive 50 is coming away towards Tom Green. He gives it back to Cumming. A long kick to Toby Green and a one-on-one with McDonald. And Green just hugs it to his chest, wins the one-on-one, hands down in the centre square. There's not a heap up ahead. He kicks a 50-50 ball out wide, trying to hit up Tom Green, and Hayden takes the intercept mark for the Roos. Hand pass to Hall. How do they go on the counter-attack? North Melbourne out to Turner. He takes the mark. He's held up by Kelly. And a nice veteran move by Josh Kelly just to hold him up for a few moments. Short kick to Perez. North with the footy wide out, high half forward. But their front 50 just filling up. And Perez in the end kicks into the pocket for Curtis. And the teenagers got it against the boundary line, right forward pocket.
It's probably the only bit of space, wasn't it, that was left inside 50. I was just thinking that the North Melbourne mids probably hadn't worked in hard enough to try and make the Giants middies accountable, but it's a great kick in the end.
Now he's out wide, right forward pocket, far side of the ground. He's going to snap across the body with the left peg. He got the fat part of the footy. And it's whacked through right on the siren. The score won't count. It was after the bell. With Tristan Sherry trying to knock it through for at least one. And it'll remain a 50-point margin at three-quarter time. It means GWS edged the term. So North Melbourne's lean run of quarters one continues. How's that, Liz? What do you say? A poet? I didn't know it. GWS by 50 points. 12-9-81. North Melbourne 4-7-31. Now the goal kick is Clenchy to three-quarter time. We got Canelio with 3. We have Riccardi with 3. 2 for Peatling, 2 for Bruin, and then singles for Toby Green and Matt DeBoer. While for North Melbourne, Larkey has 2, Goldstein has 1, and Curtis has 1. It is 50 points, the margin at three-quarter time.
On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Fran from Melbourne, happy Sunday team. Just a bit sad about how North Melbourne are going. You never want to see a team going this way. And from Paul, enjoying the call here from Thailand, is Himmelberg wearing the blue and white. No, he's in the orange, but they just keep kicking it to him. GWS by 50 points on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
For laughter, tears, and a look back through the years.
How about this for our first date?
Join Julia Zamiro for one final trip down memory lane.
This is like where I grew up.
With Ray Martin, Marsha Hines, and Stephen Page.
I started choreographing my first work here.
Plus the most emotional homecoming yet, her very own home delivery.
I would have loved to walk through here with him.
The final season of Julia Zamiro's Home Delivery.
Wow.
Starts Sunday, June 19 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Gets the hand pass to Tom Green. Through the middle of Docklands. Down low for DePaul. He takes the mark and Young has to be careful not to give away 50. And now he has. So Peatling will get 50. James Peatling has one already from directly in front. He now has 2.
Curtis pulls the trigger back in the corridor to Hall. He moves along to Larkey. Taylor flew early and Nick Larkey takes the juggled mark. Here he is, the 24-year-old for his second. Pops it through.
Goldstein prepares himself against Sproul, who's bouncing around really unsure what to do, and he's given away the free kick. He never really looked comfortable there. Here he is, Todd Goldstein pretty much directly in front. Back-to-back goals for the Roos. Sam Taylor, who gets the hand pass to Himmelberg through the middle of the ground. Ward bumped as he got his kick to Whitfield. They've got plenty of options. The sides are sent long towards Bruin and Hayden. Hayden got rid of him illegally. Tanner Bruin, a chance to kick his second. Comes in pretty much directly in front and is able to poke it through into the Giants fans behind the goals.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Three-quarter time from Docklands in Melbourne. The Second last game of round 13 with Queen's birthday still to come. Melbourne and Collingwood tomorrow. The Giants leading by 50 points here, 12-9-81 to North Melbourne, 4-7-31. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy are your experts. So a better quarter for the Roos, managing 2-2 to the Giants, 2-5. But the Giants still comfortably cruising to their fourth win of the season.
Yeah, the disappointing thing for mine in that quarter was probably the act of Jason Horne-Francis on Josh Kelly, and then Young, I think it was, on Matty DeBoer. Just a little bit of ill discipline, but I get it. You're frustrated. You want to show that you're willing to put in the hard yards and whatever else, but you've got to do it within the rules, and that was probably the disappointing thing for me. But they were a little bit better. I think the Giants probably just want to make sure they don't get complacent here and take the foot off. This could be a really big win for them, and one that, you walk away feeling like you've played the game in the right way and not just being like, we just got the job done. I think that'll be the message from Mark McVeigh. Let's not take the foot off the pedal. Let's see whether we can kick 6 goals this quarter.
Yeah, it's not like they're not having a crack, is it? Like,
no.
You can't sit here and go, they're not putting in effort. They don't want to be out there. They're actually having a crack. I just don't think they're quite good enough, and they're still learning about the way in which they want to play, and they're probably all not on the same page, and that just takes time, and that just takes education. It takes these games where you learn a lot about what you're not doing and what you're doing quite well, and just trying to do more of it. So,
is that more of a concern in a way, that the effort's actually been there today? And like we usually say that if they're playing a top 8 team and they're just a long way short, they're playing 15th and they're 50 points off it through 3 quarters.
Yeah, you can look at that in the entirety, but I think Giants are a much better football side than being 15th. Like they're still going to cause a lot of headaches, I think, on the run home for a lot of top 8 footy teams. But you also look at North Melbourne. They've only won 1 game this year, and it was against Eagles. So like they're not getting a lot of nourishment from winning games of football, doing it the right way against a good opposition as well. So they're as low can get in terms of confidence wise, because they are losing games too by 10 goals week in, week out too as well. So I just think you'd rather walk away here as a North Melbourne fan thinking, well, you know what, we're probably a good few years off yet, but guys are still having a crack and they're still playing for the jumper. You can see the frustration levels by a few guys in terms of some of the acts that are going on, but they're not.
They're laying foundations.
They're laying foundations, and they'll learn a lot out of this period, and they're not going to probably see the reward until maybe next year. But you just want to see a few more little green shoots, Corby, don't you? But anyway, let's hopefully we get a few more of them in this last quarter.
Giants by 50 points as we head into the final term. Goldstein and Flynn to start either side of each other. Flynn wins down the tap, but Greenwood volleys it towards the 50. Zeeble came charging out, but it's Anderson who picks it up for the Roos. Kicks inside 50. In the end, Curtis was outmanoeuvred, but he did gather the footy, brought down by Sproul, and the tackle was over the shoulder. In fact, it was Steen who laid the tackle over the shoulder, and North Melbourne will get an early look to start the final term.
He's got good forward craft, this kid, young Paul Curtis. Every game I reckon I've watched of him, he's had shots on goal, knows how to get into the right spots. Just got to work on his finish probably more than anything. I think he's kicked quite a few behinds, more so than goals, but he's getting the shots, which is something that you'd be pleased with.
3-5 heading into today, so pretty much directly in front. Shooting from 40 metres out, comes in, good kick off the boot. The Roos have the first to start the final term through Paul Curtis. And it ticks the margin back under 50 points once more. The Giants by 44 points, 12-9-81 to North Melbourne, 5-7-37. It took just a minute of the final term. What about the confidence of a young group? Like, how do you generate confidence, Murph, when your team is losing week in, week out?
Yeah, look, it's difficult, and you can't just allow guys to worry about what they're seeing on the scoreboard and get too drawn into that, because when you are losing week to week and you're losing quite heavily, it is a tough road, but you've got to take the small wins and try and find them wherever they are. So whatever your KPIs are, try and just keep to them, keep it pretty simple, look for the areas of growth and improvement week to week.
North this year have won only 2 of 25 second half quarters, so We'll monitor that into this final term to see if they can make it 3. It started on the right note. Goldstein palms it straight down to Davies-Uniacke. Hand pass to Simpkin. Kicks to centre half forward. Through the hands of Steen. Picked up by Taylor. Tries to take on the tackler. Taken to ground. Umpire says, I'll have it. And a ball up, 25 out from the north goal. Nick Larkey with the big tackle.
We've done a couple of those already today. I've been impressed with the big fella.
Giants by 44. They both share it in the ruck. Comes down to Kennedy. Has his arm pinged and a great tackle by Powell. Pack forms around them. And the umpire says, I'll have it again. Another ball up, centre half forward for the Roo boys.
Umpire maybe just a bit blindsided that the arm was pinned. It was a good tackle from Powell. Goldstein won it down. A chance for Keith. Kick was smothered. Steen's over the top. And the umpire will throw it up with Jed Anderson on the bottom of the pack. 40 metres out from North Melbourne's goal. Having kicked the opening goal the final term, Goldstein tries to palm it down to Anderson, who was on the move. A chance for Sam Taylor. Feeds the hand pass to Steen through traffic. Got the hand pass away to Tom Green at half back, and now to Kelly. Kicks out to Peatling. Marks centre wing. Turns and wants to kick back inboard. Finds Tom Green once more. Got Loddon off through the corridor, so he goes very short. Coming, not 15. Call to play on and out of Sam Taylor. Still has it on the back edges of the centre square. Jess Webster on the boundary.
It's going to be a big quarter for North Melbourne. At three-quarter time, their percentage had dropped to just 0.8 above West Coast in last position of the ladder. So if they cannot contain the Giants in this final quarter, they may end up on the bottom of the ladder at the end of the game.
Yeah, good one to keep in mind, Jess. Thank you. North Melbourne take it back at half-back through Davies-Uniacke. He works it up to Simpkin, who marks centre wing.
The Eagles, I think, had as many as 13 players in the WAFL yesterday in a 30-plus disposal game for Dom Sheed, so they'll get a few back after the bye as well as the long kick heads down the wing. Curtis got a hand pass away to Greenwood to Davies-Uniacke. Shoots a hand pass away to Simpkin. Still on the wing. Hand pass to Hall. Under pressure now from Paitley, who does superb. Traps the footy. Wins it. Then gives it away to Ward. Hand pass to Kelly off the back flank. He's going to kick out wide for Kennedy, who marks on the City wing. So the Giants by 44. North have kicked the only goal of this final quarter, which is 4 minutes old.
Kennedy called to play on, was going to kick long down the line, instead turns and kicks inboard. Back inside the defensive 50 to Keith. Works it up to Lockie Ash. Ash looking out towards the interchange side, and Taylor, that's Sam Taylor, takes the mark. Pushing into space is Whitfield. He spots him. That's a nice kick. He marks between wing and half forward. Decided not to play on immediately. Toby Green offers a lead into the pocket. Beautiful kick. Just sat it out in front of him. And there's not a lot that Lockie Young could do. Toby Green pinches a couple of metres. Veers out to the right. Kicks long and clears the goal line. Toby with his second. Jesse Hogan was there. Walker will be frustrated that he couldn't get a hand onto it. And it was able to sail over for Toby Green's second goal. The Giants back out by 50 points, 13-9-87 to North Melbourne, 5-7-37. A goal apiece in the final term through 5 minutes.
Well, you could just see that happening, couldn't you? Like the way in which he would just moved his way across and just thought, I'm just going to run here to 50 and just take the 5 or so metres that that you normally get now with the man on the mark not being able to move. And he's just such a good finisher, Toby Green. It was just like shelling peas.
Well, he hasn't been today, though, has he? He's kicked a couple of out-of-bounds on the full. You can see it unfolding before that as well. Whitfield just working too hard for his winger, getting into space, but the ease of which they switch the ball and then get out.
It was just guys being caught trying to defend the one-on-one rather than playing that team defence. It was just easily cut up, weren't they?
GWS by 50 points, 6 minutes into the final term. The two rucks, Sherry and Flynn, both got a piece of it. Flynn in the end grabs the footy, kicks it to centre half forward for the Giants. North, though, through Hayden. Hand pass to Horn Francis, then to Scott. And a handball to Anderson, defensive side of the wing. Short kick back to Hayden. He looks into the centre square for Greenwood. Takes the mark. Hand pass to Horn Francis. Through centre half forward. Kicks looking for Curtis. Curtis in the end forced to knock it away to Davies-Uniacke. He's almost tackled. Curtis clever. Palms it back to Davies-Uniacke. Wants to get on the right peg. He snaps goalward and he puts it through. A superb team goal for North Melbourne. And Paul Curtis with a deft touch just to set up LDU, and Davies-Uniacke was able to snap it across the body to cut the margin to 44 once more. North Melbourne 6-7-43, GWS 13-9-87, 7 played in the last.
Well, that's their future there, and if that's anything to go by, then it's going to be some light at the end of the tunnel, because Davis Uniacke, I reckon's been their best today. But I really enjoyed the run from Horn Francis. He got the ball back here on the half-back flank, got the hands out, followed up with a secondary run, then almost was another option. He had 3 touches in that passage of play, and that's something that you love to see from a young kid. Get back hard and then run hard forward.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. North with 2-1 in the final term. Bounce back in the middle. Sherry went early against Flynn. 1 down the tap. A chance for North, but Tom Green's back onto it first. Hand pass to Ward. Beautiful movement. Dodged a tackle. Linked up with Flynn. The hand pass to the run of Cumming. Drives a long kick inside 50. Hogan up. Couldn't take the mark. Toby Green's lurking. Going to get boot to ball. McDonald trying to knock it through. He did well to deny Toby. Giants by 45 points. 8 minutes gone, final term.
Just Cal Walker turn on a dime, can't he?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He's been doing it for years.
Giants, by the way, the second worst final quarter team this year, having won just 2 of a possible 11 leading in. North Melbourne, the only team below them. There's the Roos out to half-back to Simpkins, short to Davies Uniacke, the goal kicker. In the defensive 50, he goes back and across to Core, so almost back at fullback now, the Roos. Giants by 45, 8 played final term. And here's our man Apples, who's going to go along with the drop punt out to Taylor. A one-on-one in the air with Whitfield. Spills down to Hogan, he's tackled by Taylor. Ball still loose on the wing. There's Davies Uniacke again, who picks it up, takes on the tackle from Whitfield. Says he got a hand pass away. Perez scoops it up to Stevenson, barely called his name. Kicks to the outer edge of the centre square, and Simpkin marks for North Melbourne.
Oh, he wanted to back Stevenson, and Simpkin turned it over. Ware intercepts, straight down the middle. Here's Toby. Toby Green marks on his chest in front of Luke McDonald. Directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
I reckon Toby's might have hit his head pretty hard on the deck there with that one. Yeah, he did. But tell you what, a kid...
So much so, Toby Green's going to give off the hand pass to Harry Himmelberg. Long-range goal from outside 50, delivering from defence. His first goal of the afternoon, as Corby touched on earlier, is the Giants' leading goal scorer, but he's played across half-back this afternoon and pushes the lead back up above 50. 51 points the Giants' margin, 14-10-94 to North Melbourne, 6-7-43. I don't think Toby gives off too many normally when he's within range, does he?
Tell you what, getting one out of him is pretty hard work, but obviously not feeling right, so that's why. He's a bit like KB in terms of handballs. You don't see too many, but that's okay. What I wanted to say before that was Jacob Weir. He's a kid you just love to lead to. He just puts that lovely little touch on it. Nice looking left foot kick.
Doesn't hit it hard, does he?
Nah,
just what the forwards want.
Allows the forward to do their work and get into the ball.
Question came through earlier as to whether Himmelberg defence for the rest of the season, Murph, or still a forward?
Well, judging on today, he's probably fighting for 3 votes, but probably technically I'll get him, but he's been fantastic today.
Centre break for North. Davies Uniacke kicks down to half forward. Here is Himmelberg, skids in, grabs the footy, hand pass to Taylor. GWS with it, hand pass to Whitfield. He turns on Stevenson and he's helped out of play. And a boundary throw in. I mentioned Jaden Stevenson hadn't called his name a heap. That was his first kick. He's had 1 kick, 3 handballs. He's been dropped twice this year. His first game back today since round 9 when he was omitted for a second time. 11 minutes into the last, Giants by 51. Boundary throwing half forward for North. Cherry wins it down. Davies Uniacke, hand pass to Anderson. Kicks inside 50 and Whitfield at full stretch. Marks just inside the defensive 50 for the Giants. And Whitfield can send it down the wing.
Sends it towards Hogan. Walker spoils it down. Perez front and centre. Hand pass to Core, to Hayden in the middle of the ground. Now away to Powell in 2 minds. He's able to cut past Cal Ward. Get to 55. Great kick into the pocket. And finds Tristan Sherry. He marks just 4 or 5 steps in from the boundary, but only about 25 metres out from goal.
That's one thing that Tom Power does possess, the ability to use that footy really well. Just good composure. He took his time. There's a lot of options, more so people leading back. No one really presenting at him, which is a concern, but found the bloke with the best ball drop in their footy club, so it'll be interesting to see how this one goes.
Coming up for disposal number 10 alongside 19 hit out. Sherry comes in. Nice ball drop. Just hit the top of the left goal post. Just faded a little bit too much across the face, and a minor score. Giants by 50 points, 12 minutes gone, final term.
Just going back to the Himmelberg conversation about playing back, it allows Riccardi to really find his feet along with Hogan up forward. So it's a good little test to see, one, how Himmelberg goes down back, but also Riccardi, and find out a bit more about him.
Himmelberg long to the city wing, comes down to Riccardi's hand pass knocked down, spills to Anderson, he soccers it forward, balloons off the boot of Ward back in the other direction, one bounce out of play.
You get a kick for that?
That's a good question. What do you think?
I don't know, have a look, what do the stats say?
It says smothered on disposal. I'm not sure they're going to give him the kick or not. It was out of bounds on the bounce, so we'll have a boundary throw-in between wing and half forward for North. Sherry just pushes it forward. Turner was the target. He became the tackler as Bruin wraps him up. Illegally, said the umpire. Advantage applied. The Roos on inside 50. Davies-Uniacke runs, carries. Hand pass to Horne-Francis, who snaps goalward but misses. And a behind by the time they realised they were on. They were a little rushed. Davies-Uniacke, who dished that handball off to Horne-Francis, copped a bit of a hit after doing so, and he's a little sore. Now, 49 points. The Giants lead it by 13 played final term.
North with 2-2 to 2-1 in this final term, though. As a long kick up towards half-back. Aidan Corr's in there and spoils it out of play. A nice segue as to why is his nickname Apples, Brett Delidio?
Apples Core. Aidan Core, Apples, Apple Core.
I should have seen that, shouldn't I?
I thought you were joking.
Thank you for spelling it out for me and anyone else who maybe didn't put 2 and 2 together. Sherry follows up his ruck work. He's dragged down. And he was pushed in the back. So he gets to take a free kick. Quickly hand passes to Davies-Uniacke. Kicks towards Larkey in the pocket. Up, got the first grab to it and claims it on the second bite. No. Umpire waves play on as Himmelberg's over the top. And he'll ball it up in the left forward pocket for North. Did he have first bite of it? Well, Sam Taylor might have had a touch onto it on the way through as well.
Everyone's setting up for the boundary throw-in too, but it's definitely not out. It is now as Flynn palms it down to Powell, and he's pushed out a play, a throw-in forward pocket for the Roos. What you saw a replay?
Nick Larkey just throw a couple of cut lunches across big Harry Himmelberg. Midriff.
Anything to worry about there?
Don't think so.
For the boundary throw-in, Sherry knocks it into the pocket. Zeeble and Anderson hunting out after it. There's a boundary throw-in now as the ball spills out of play. Forward pocket for North. The official attendance cops a bit of a Bronx cheer. It's not even North's lowest home attendance of the year. 13,742. And those that are here give themselves a round of applause. So they had fewer for the game against the reigning premiers Melbourne on election day. They had only 13.5 that day.
Bruin out of defence for the Giants up towards Hogan. Worked underneath by Young. Quick hand pass to Taylor, who had a fumble, and now Ware lays the tackle. And a ball up on the city wing. Just short of left arm forward for North Melbourne.
13,742 was that number, by the way, the crowd today.
Sherry tries to take it out of the ruck. Hand pass to Davies-Uniacke. Got it to Scott. Kicks inside 50 over the head of Larkey. Taylor backpedaling. Sam Taylor courageously got counted into. Goldstein picks it up for North. Hand pass to Larkey. Can chip it to Stevenson. Picks up the half volley. Gets onto his left. Can he kick 40 to the goal line? Missed to the right-hand side. As Hugh Greenwood was trying to shepherd it through on the goal line. And Jack Siebels with the trainer as the behind was scored. Giants by 48 points.
So North winning the final quarter by 2. They've only won 2 second-half quarters all year.
Jack Siebels got a nasty bump on the right side of his cheek. Clashed heads with Sam Taylor.
Himmelberg long, straight down the pipe, got it to the centre circles. Giants are on. Tom Green takes the advantage. Kicks to centre-half forward for Sproul. Pokes it inside 50 and the mark taken. Peatling riding the contact from Core. And he'll shoot it centre-half forward from 35 out.
It was well done by Zach Sproul, I thought there. He could have rushed himself and tried to kick it long onto a teammate's chest, but just took a bounce, worked out where his teammates were running, and then just hit up a nice little 25-metre kick, and he should finish from here. James Peatling's been pretty handy today. I've actually really enjoyed what he's offered, just going for his third.
So James Peatling, what an impact he's had. They say these things come in 3. That's the 3rd week in a row he's come up with 3. 15, 10, 100. North Melbourne 6-10-46. It is a 9-goal lead for GWS. And it is the 9th straight week that North Melbourne have conceded triple figures. 17 minutes into the final term, Giants by 9 goals.
You're right, Murph. It was well summed up by young Zach Sproul, but I reckon he's paid JP back one there because he sizzled him earlier, didn't give it off, and then tried to kick a left foot snap and bellied it and went out of bounds on the full. So, well summed up, but the ease of the way that went from one end to the other is a concern. Just straight up the middle with a kick to switch it out wide to an unmanned Zach Sproul. I'm not sure how he got so free.
Yeah, extra up forward, didn't they, the Giants?
Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. You get Jess Webster to keep an eye on Jack Zeeble. As it's bounced back in the middle. Keith having a run in the ruck here against Goldstein. Got it down, but Simpkin with a searching hand pass forward to half-forward Turner tries to knock it clear. Cornelio taps it out for the Giants. Tom Green charging through. Got the hand pass to Kelly. Iden with the 1-2 back to Kelly, and now Himmelberg across half-back. Spots up Ware. He takes the mark at left half-back. Giants with 3 goals to 2 in the final term. That's not...
Give a bloke a rap.
I know.
The best kick from Jacob Ware as he puts it out on the full.
Footies.
And the free kick
Pointy
going
balls.
the way of Bailey Scott.
Jacob Ware, mature age pickup, played in Woodville West Torrens 2020 Premiership team, where there's a few familiar names in that team. As Scott kicks to the hot spot, and Himmelberg's claiming the mark. Ends up on line on his back, and the ball sat right on his midriff as he came down. And the mark paid for the double H as he swings his kick to the back pocket for Ash. And the Giants go short to Ward, who marks on the back flank. So that 2020 Woodville West Torrens Sandford Premiership team. Lockie McNeil from the Bulldogs, Ryan Mansell from the Tigers, all part of that, along with Lockie Jones from Port Adelaide. As the kick then from Ward, a daring one into the corridor, it's got its way to its intended target, and Whitfield eventually will take the free back edge of the centre square. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Looks like Jack Zeeble is okay on the north bench. He just came off and got his cheekbone looked at. He's got a bit of a bruise developing there, but he looks like he's okay. Charlie Lazaro is the medical sub if they need to use it, but I think Jack's all right.
Whitfield was taken high by Stevenson. As they work it to Cummings and then all the way back. As they can come through the middle of the ground. Himmelberg with space, kicks straight down the pipe, and Toby Green juggles the mark. He's okay on 50, looks to give it off. Steve Cornelio, all on his own, takes the mark a further 10 metres inside the 50. So he'll shoot from about 40 metres out, pretty much directly in front.
That was a bit of an exhibition, wasn't it, in terms of foot skills coming to Himmelberg. Nice hit-up mark to Toby Green leading up in the middle of the ground.
I reckon as soon as you wrapped up Luke McDonald, Toby Green's
he's taken hold
really
of it, hasn't
stepped it up, hasn't he?
Gone the reverse Moz.
He's kicked 3 goals this afternoon, Steve Cornelio. Looking for a 4th. He comes in, got close to the man on the mark, and as a result, missed to the left-hand side. The Giants lead by 55 points as we tick past 20 minutes gone in the final term.
Has Cogs ever kicked 4 in a game?
I don't know. What's he kicked today? 3-3, is it?
Let's just have a look at
3-2 when one didn't make the distance.
Right.
Yep. 3-2 and 31 disposals now for Steve Cornelio officially, as the exiting kick out from McDonald's whacked out of play by Sam Taylor. Will have a throw in half forward for GWS. This final quarter watch, by the way, Giants now leading that by 5. Kicked 3 goals to 2 in the final term. They blew the game apart early, kicking the first 7 goals of the match. And the boundary throw in, 50 out, half forward for the Giants. Cornelio shovels it out to Tom Green. He goes with a 1-2 with the ruckman Flynn. 60 out. Tom Green looks for Toby. Can't quite reel it in over his fingertips. Luke McDonald goes back to collect. He's dispossessed. And now Lockie Young is tackled high. And a free kick for the Roos in the back pocket. And Young's going to swing it across the goal face. And in the opposite pocket, Walker marks. Loops a hand pass away to Bailey Scott, who's off and running.
Takes a bounce and looks up further afield. Aaron Hall marks down low. Evie is out in the middle of the ground. Kicks for Zeeble, who's back onto the field. He marks on his chest. Turns on his lethal right boot. Sends it long towards Goldstein. Iden will fly in front. Almost dropped the mark. Was able to juggle it on the 3rd bite. And in the end, Paul Curtis didn't realise that he just had to fly as well. as his opponent was able to slip in and take the mark.
At least the North fans aren't as ruthless as the old Tigers ones. If you had a dirty day and you got a touch late, they'd give you the Bronxies. I haven't heard too many of those.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
To the back pocket to Whitfield and now to Kelly. Just having a look, Steve Coniglio kicked 4 goals once back in 2019, but you feel like he's almost back to his best, which as a forward in which Leon Cameron tried, he wasn't as damaging as what he's been to the midfielder who can push forward. Young takes Coniglio over the shoulder, so another disposal coming up. Disposal number 32.
Maybe off his left boot now as he just pokes it to Ware.
I think what he's got out of his game is just those quick kicks out of stoppage. He's driving his legs a lot more and getting out into space versus just hacking it forward.
Ware to Ash. Ash back to Iden. Iden looks into the corridor for Whitfield. He's going to go back and across to Kelly. So Jake Kelly had a hot start to the game. He's up to 28 disposals now. Comes wide to Keefe and Keefe short to Himmelberg. Giants next week. They play Saturday night footy. It's the nationally telecast game against the Western Bulldogs at Giants Stadium. You know what we call those games?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
What do we call them?
I don't know. Western Derby or something, isn't it?
It's the Great Western. Next week as Whitfield kicks into the middle for Toby Green. Pokes his pass out wide to Ash. Ash shifts further wide out the right half forward. And Isaac Cumming marks. He is a long kick of the footy. The man on the mark's 55 metres out. Cumming thought about it. In the end, he's just going to lay it up to the top of the goal square. Ward's down there. Curtis punches it away. And Turner at the drop for North Melbourne. Hand pass to Goldstein and now out to Horn. Francis, it clean bowls him.
Got a cruel bounce. Tom Green gathered. Hand pass to Flynn. That's where it breaks down as Anderson takes it for North. Long kick towards half forward. And Larkey had led up to the footy, so Sam Taylor able to take an easy mark. Switches across the half back line where the mark's taken by Cumming. He looks up to the outer wing and here's Steve Coniglio once more. Had that wing to himself almost in this final term. Chips it over the top and Bruin takes the mark. So the Giants have got the Western Bulldogs next week. That'll be an interesting clash. Collingwood and Hawthorn in the weeks to come. They'll get the breather at the bye, which I'm sure they'll get a chance to reset and discuss what they want to try and get out of the second half of the season with just one win to their name. Iden back out to Sam Taylor who marks at left half back. Inboard to Himmelberg. They're just spotting up loose options now as Whitfield takes the mark.
Whitfield short again to Cumming. Giants by 55, so they're edging the final quarter by 5 points. He kicks it inside 50, a bullet-like kick. But Zeeble takes the juggled mark at centre half back.
If you get a second, just have a look at Lockie Keefe's arms. He looks like he's just had a shower. Like, speaking true to what I said before.
Jack Zeeble's got blood coming from the face, so he'll have to come from the field. The umpire spotted it, even though he tried to plead his case. After the bye, North Melbourne have Adelaide and Geelong, so to just check that. Yeah, Adelaide one, is that away?
It's in Hobart.
In Hobart.
Zeeble bleeding from the nose, so he just trots off. It was all over pretty early as a contest today. GWS, the first 7 goals of the match, and led by 47 points at half-time, and it's 55 here, so a narrow third quarter victory for GWS, and they're winning the final term by 5, but really it's been goal for goal. Give or take after half-time. A long kick for the Roos to the wing as Himmelberg hands it to Cumming. He goes back to Kennedy. And a short kick to Cal Ward, who's going to celebrate his milestone game as a winner. He became the first Giants player this afternoon to break the 200-game barrier. So congratulations to Cal Ward, game 260 overall.
Retreats back into the right back pocket to Sam Taylor. Looks up further afield, sends a long ball in the direction of Jesse Hogan. Just took a great mark, holding his strength, and Walker off behind him. Feeds the hand pass around the back. Still running as Ash. Works it around the boundary line, where Bruin can come inboard and Sproul takes the mark.
Some blokes had a real happy knack of getting involved in this sort of play.
Late?
I could never, ever get involved. I basically just said, right, that'll do me then, I'll go off. Couldn't get a touch.
The stat sheet stuffers.
Yeah.
Zyden goes to Ward. He's still dashing out of defence. Kicks up to Flynn, who takes the mark in front of Goldstein. Hand pass to Cumming, who gets to 50. He can probably dob this. On the run, he misses to the left. And had plenty of time, just couldn't quite steady and finish. Giants by 56 points We played 26 minutes in the final term.
And he kicked the one goal in his career, Isaac Cumming, on his 45th game, an academy product. As Greenwood shares it with Perez, and his kick comes out wide to Curtis Taylor. So the crowd in the end, 13,742. There were fears it could be the lowest ever AFL crowd for a game at Docklands, but they cleared that mark, which was less than 9,000. Did so in the end by some way. It's not even their lowest home crowd of the season. The Roos work it up to the wing. Davies Uniacke, hand pass to Sherry, hands it away to Simpkin, 60 out, kicks to Goldie, backpedaling and marking. Top of the goal square for North Melbourne.
Well, you've got to give them credit. Within, I thought, the first 10 minutes of the second quarter, North Melbourne looked like they were done for the day, but they've just hung in all day, haven't they? And they've still had a crack. Their just skills haven't been up to it, and Giants have just been too classy. But you just see with a bit of the ball use there, they've still got some young stars who I think are going to be some really good players in years to come. And they'll get there.
Goldstein knocks it through for North Melbourne. And they've broken even in this final term, so GWS by 50 points as they were at three-quarter time. The Roos moved to 7-10-52. GWS 15-12, 102. 28 played final term.
Yeah, it's. I think, unfortunately, that the Giants have put the cue in the rack. And unfortunately, when that happens, you can open yourself up to goals getting out the back if you're not specific by foot, I suppose. They've missed a couple of targets and whatever else, just trying to look after themselves more than anything else.
Trying to kick the ball around a little bit, aren't they? Just possess the footy and
make North Melbourne defend, but
no point getting any more physical contact for the day.
No, absolutely. Stay as far and as wide as you can for the last 2 minutes of this game.
Giants by 50 points. Bounce back in the middle. Flynn sets himself against Sherry. Sherry taps it down to Simpkin. Can they pinch the final quarter win? Ward tackled as Powell locks him up. Just attacking side of the centre circles. 28 minutes gone in the final term. Sherry and Flynn do battle. Flynn knocks it down to Sherry. Can't get a disposal away initially. Now a hand pass to Davies Uniacke. Kicks inside the 50. Goldstein a full forward. Was he wrestled away? It's going to be rushed through for a minor score. And that's enough, isn't it, to give them the lead in the final term. 3 goals 4 to GWS 3-3. So something to put on the whiteboard.
It'll be just their third second half, quarter one for the season. So of a possible 26. They're the worst second half team in the league. They're 17th on the table, a percentage in the low 50s. As GWS bring the footy in, coming to Iden in the back pocket. He goes long down the line. Flynn flying for it and knocked away by Sherry and out of play. Big Matty Flynn, it's a long way down. Needs a hand to get back to his feet.
His nickname's Gerald, if you're wondering. Don't know why. No relevance.
Yep. I was just double checking, thinking my way through it. Not wanting to miss the obvious.
Giants by 49 points. Sherry palms it down. Tom Green. Hand pass back into traffic and locking up Ward straight away. Sherry will have the ball up on the logo of the dockside. Up it goes. Sherry palms it down to Simpkin. He's kicked smothered. Ricochets to Ward. He's dumped in the tackle from Powell. Now out to Cornelio trying to break a tackle. Got a hand pass away to Davies Uniacke. He dishes off to Simpkin. The Roos go inside 50. But the game's done, and it was early. If it was a boxing fight, they would have called it off in the opening term. The Giants kicking the first 7 of the game, and they never looked back from that point on. They win by 49 points as the Roos headache continues.
In the boots before the Giants, we take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best, and we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
Third game under interim coach Mark McVeigh, and GWS have a winning record. They're 2-1 in that time. They get themselves to 4-8 on the season. While for North Melbourne, they fall to 1-12. They have now lost their last 11 games. They have a percentage in the low 50s. They are 1-12 on the season, so big problems for North Melbourne. And David Noble's pain continues in his second year in the top job.
West of the town, it's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leaps. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best, and we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
GWS kicking the first 7 goals of the game. They led by 30 at quarter time, 47 at the half, 50 at three-quarter time, and for what it's worth, North Melbourne won the final quarter by a point. GWS win the game by 49 points, and there was never a stage where they didn't look like they were going to leave here with the 4 premiership points. 13,742, so they avoid the unenviable record of having the lowest crowd ever for a premiership fixture here at Dockland Stadium, and they pass that mark by some way. 13,742 the attendance. The Giants winners by 49 points, and really, Clinchy, it felt all a little bit played out after the early stages. Steve Cornelio kicked 3 all in the first half, as did Peatling and Riccardi. 2 for Toby Green, 2 for Tanner Bruin, singles for De Boer and Himmelberg, while for North Melbourne, 2 for Larkey, 2 for Goldstein, 1 each for Curtis Taylor and Luke Davies-Uniacke.
So the Giants record their 4th win of the season. 2nd under Mark McVeigh. They jumped to 13th on the AFL ladder. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, start with the positives. What did you take away from the Giants win today?
Oh, what I loved is Harry Himmelberg behind the footy. I think that's been a really smart play from Mark McVeigh. He's been damaging up forward and kicking goals, but he's probably undersized, and they didn't have the key targets around him to really get the full advantage of Harry Himmelberg. But to go back behind the footy where they have got some bigger boys allows him to play that third key back. What do you have, 37 in the end today? And how many intercepts, Clinchy, if you can find that for me quickly, but his ability to 11 intercepts, like, just read the play. Like, he's an automatic. He's a good reader of the ball, but he's also got that weapon of a right boot that allows him to set up the play, agile. So yes, he's taller, so he can catch it, but he's also so good at ground level.
Yeah, and he's so composed, and so it looks like he's just a bit of a calming influence back there. Ateni when you take that amount of grabs, but his ball use was fantastic. But I mentioned it in the call about Jacob Riccardi. It gives him an opportunity to be one of the key men with Jesse Hogan up forward, and he kicks 3 today, so it gives him an opportunity in this back half of the year to sort of find his feet and not worry about having 2 other big key targets up there to go against. They can sort of work in with one another, Jesse Hogan and Jake Riccardi, and you're starting to see the benefits of that.
I also liked, I thought Tanner Bruin played one of his best games today. And, his ability to mix it up on the wing, a little bit inside, but then go forward, kick goals. Smart in traffic. His ability to get in and out was really good. We've spoken about Stephen Cornelio. His ability to get back to his best, I think, has been really good. He's obviously had a few down last couple of years, but, his last few weeks has been really impressive.
Josh Peatling,
JP. I thought his forward craft, ability one-on-one, pretty good. Kicks it really nicely, but adds speed to that forward line. Matty De Boer is probably like your workhorse that just puts pressure on and tackles and chases and does the hard yards. Peatling, his ability to sprint and overlap, create something a bit different alongside Toby, who's not down there for his defensive pressure, I wouldn't imagine, but his ability to work and make something happen out of nothing. So, he was really impressive, and I think they'd be pretty happy with that. And they've still got Nick Haynes to come back into that side. Surprised that he was left out. I suppose he's a bit similar to Harry Himmelberg in a sense, and they both catch it. Harry's a neater kick than Hainsey, but you get him back into that side, but at what expense after a win like that?
It just shows you how much class they do have all over the ground, really, doesn't it? And I think they're probably just I think they've had a lack of sort of role players within their side. It looks like you're starting to see now with Mark McVeigh taking the reins, that obviously guys are seeing that opportunity maybe in a new role or a new opportunity. So that's what having a new coach halfway in throughout the year does sometimes, can free guys up and almost rebirth some guys in terms of giving them another opportunity and basically come in with a fresh slate.
I don't think anyone really thinks they're worthy of a finals conversation, but the next 3 weeks are interesting with the Bulldogs, Collingwood and Hawthorn, especially sort of Collingwood and Hawthorn, those two sides.
Even the Bulldogs, though, I think that there's a genuine, I wouldn't say hatred, but they enjoy playing against each other.
Finals
those two
record,
teams, and played in some big. Also had some players crossover from each side, So there'll be a bit of spice in that one, no doubt. But yeah, it's an interesting game, and I think that the Giants will be setting themselves ready to try and knock them off and say, right, well, we're about the same, but the Dogs see themselves as a finals team. So it's a big game for the Dogs.
There's always big spice in that game, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
and I think they'll see it as their opportunity. The Giants probably just to almost put a full stop to the Bulldogs' finals campaign. Who knows?
Poor old Bont. Yeah, he looked like he'd gone about 12 rounds after that elimination final. He got bashed.
So I guess for Mark McVeigh, and he sort of said so, he joined us a couple of weeks ago on the lead that it was a chance for him to throw around the magnets and decide in his own ability whether he wanted to be the full-time coach going forward. But our forward line, Jesse Hogan didn't have the biggest afternoon. That can be pretty versatile. So Himmelberg from forward line to defence settles them down, and he's a great ball user. But do you think this is possibly the way they'll go in the future, where they've always had midfielders who can kick goals?
Yeah. Oh, I think so. I reckon, Jesse Hogan just needs that continuity of continuing to play in that front half. I think he's been a bit sporadic with how he's played. Jake Riccardi's he's been in and out of the side a little bit as well, due to form more so than injury. So keep him there, and then we get some continuity. Certainly reap the rewards.
Let's head down to the Giants' rooms with Jess Webster.
Cool, calm and collected as the Giants walked into the rooms. They're just forming a circle now, and let's have a listen.
Giants winners by 49 points in round 13 of the AFL. 15-12, 102 to North Melbourne, 7-11-53 in front of 13,742 fans. The Giants are jumping on a flight back to Sydney, so we'll have an interview relatively quickly. We'll probably only have about 5 or 6 minutes with a Giants player, because they do have flight.
They used to annoy me so much.
Commitments.
Oh yeah, because the flight path back in Sydney, you can't get in too late, so you just in and out real quick. Yeah. Don't eat some food and just jump on the plane, get on the bus, and then get to the airport.
What about the team song? Did you actually know the words to that? It sounds pretty complicated from my end.
It is. It's a long song. Yeah. The bit that I didn't really participate in that much was the ooh, 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 or the end where they jump in. I was sort of like, oh, okay. Oh no, boys, that's good.
The best part about the song is that it feels like it's about to finish, and then it kicks again, and it's got another.
It's good when you win it and had a big win, like you can really get amongst it. But it took me a little while.
Let's head back down to the Giants' rooms with Jess Webster.
Thanks, Clinchy. Here with Stephen Cornelio. Great performance this afternoon. You came down here, got the job done. You led from start to finish. You must be really pleased.
Yeah, I was. Probably haven't been the best side off the bye the last couple of years, and I was really positive. The last 2 weeks before that, and I thought today was a really good show, and not only to win, but to win by a good margin was important for us.
Let's head straight upstairs now. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, over to you.
Cogsy, Lids here. Well done today, mate. It seems to me, mate, you're getting back into your form of 2018, 2019, around that era when you're playing some really good, solid footy, kicking goals, but also finding heaps of footy. You must feel happy with your own form.
Yeah, mate. Look, to be honest, my body feels really good, but mine's clear as well. I think, I think we've been playing with such a an essence of freedom in the last 3 weeks. It's suited me, and I think a couple other guys. You look at Harry Himmelberg today, the way he was able to. Tobes does it every week, but guys like JP up forward, Tanner Bruin today. So it's exciting times.
What's been the biggest difference you've noticed in the changeover of coaches, mate, under Leon and then now Spike taking over? What have you noticed the most?
Oh, look, I think we just needed to get back to, not that Leon wasn't doing it, but we as players, we let him down on numerous occasions at the start of this year. But, that DNA of who we're about, I thought we were soft in some games earlier this year. And, as you would know, Spike has that real tough edge about him, tough work during the week. We've trained as hard as, we have during the week in the last 3 weeks for some time. So, the results are coming out on game day, and the boys are really getting around that.
Cogs, Murphy, mate, well done today. I thought you were probably easily best on with Harry, but What's the aim for the rest of the year for the Giants? Is it 1 week at a time trying to ruin opposition sides for playing finals, or is it a bigger picture sort of thing? Is it a game style you're trying to play? What's the main focus?
Look, personally, I'd want to remain really optimistic about our chances to really put some wins on the board, and we got close to Brisbane, and West Coast and North are obviously below us, and we took care of that result, but we need to really look at the Bulldogs next week and beyond, and put in some really strong shifts and get some wins. We still have some really good young talent, but our older guys are experienced and played a lot of footy, and we should be contributing.
And as leaders of the football club, have you been trying to drive the focus as well of the group, or have you left that up to Mark?
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about Mark coming in. It's been a really collaborative approach, I guess. Not only from him, a lot of other coaches and the leaders are really jumping on board that. So it's been great, and hearing from a lot of the younger guys as well who have played 50, 80 games now.
Yeah, very good. I'd be interested to know too the Gucci and Adidas campaign that I saw. Did you cut much grief from your teammates from those shots throughout the week?
Yeah, I did. Lucky I posted it when it was a day off, so I didn't have to see him until the next
Smart
day.
Move.
Steve, it's Matt Klitsch here. We were just discussing Harry Himmelberg playing across half-back. He had 11 intercept disposals tonight, 37 disposals. Will that be the spot for him for the rest of the season? I mean, he's your leading goal kicker for the year, so it would be handy to have two of him. Yeah, look, I think for now he's playing a really important role for us. I mean, you look up forward and Jake Riccardi and Hogues, if they're performing really well, then Harry can stay down there if he's having 37 and those intercept marks every week. And you have a guy like Nick Haynes who played in the VFL coming back as well. So it'd be interesting to see what we do. I guess it's great. It's almost like the old Adam Hunter role. Forward and back, it's been a really good one for him.
See, that's a kid that grew up in Perth during the mid-2000s, the Adam Hunter role. Steve, it's called the middle mass here. I mean, you're a deep-thinking footballer. Your team's 3-8 leading into the game today, so finals sort of way off in the distance. How do you get a sense of purpose on the back half of the year? You've got a caretaker coach. It seems like the whole club's in a state of flux. How do you really find deeper meaning in what's ahead in the second half of the year?
Yeah, look, I really, when we're talking with our older guys, we expect a lot of each other. And as I said, we've got a really good mix, a really good list, and we lost our way a little bit in the first half of the year. But, for me, we need to remain optimistic, and we need to remain playing the way we are at the moment.
Are you capable of making waves this year, next year? Where do you see the bounce coming from?
Yeah, I definitely see it in the near future. Like I said, we beat two sides below us, just lost to Brisbane. Next week against a rival of ours is going to be a huge one on Saturday night. But never say never, and we need to keep playing like the way we are.
And Bobby Hill, obviously as a leader at this footy club and what he's experiencing at the moment. First of all, how is he, and what have you done to support him?
Yeah, he came to training on Thursday, his first time back. So he's obviously in some pain earlier in the week, and the boys have really made sure we got around him, and he actually knew for a little while. So for him to play that Brisbane game, the way he did and contribute and put on a brave face was really something exceptional. And unfortunately or fortunately, he's got some really great leaders in the competition who have been through something similar, and he's using them, chatting to them as motivation to really bounce back from this. And our club's right behind him. And Steve, as we let you go, Cal Ward, another milestone. First Giants player to reach 200 games. For a senior player at the club, I mean, for him to continuing to, I guess, try and strive for that excellence at a guy who's 32 years of age, what can you tell us about him from a week-to-week basis that our listeners might not know? Yeah, look, I mean, we lost one of his milestone games earlier in the year against Richmond, and it was really important for us to win today, and Lids and Murph, obviously knowing Wardy and playing against him, there's just not many words to sum up, what type of player he is, but what type of bloke he is as well. And, we can't thank him enough for his contribution, and watching him today, there's still a lot of games left in his legs, so it's exciting times, and I'm just happy we could honour him in the right way. You're good to watch today. Congratulations, Steve. Enjoy the win. Good luck against the Bulldogs next week. Thanks for the chat, guys. On your Cogsy. Thanks, man. Stephen Coniglio joining us from the Giants room. So, teammate of Brett Delidio. Been in the odd photo in the birdcage with Mark Murphy.
Oh, please.
You are so frequent in there, it's not even funny.
Every year I
fashion
used
reference
to
and-
know
Can't
that
even come here into the ABC commentary box and just talk football without getting sledged about being.
I go straight to the back page of the Herald Sun, and there's Mark Murphy, all glitzed and glammed up. Don't you worry about you, mate.
I tried to get him over to the Blues a few years ago, but he's firmly entrenched at the Giants. And
is that a personal phone call?
I met up with him a couple of times, just trying to woo him across. One of the times I tried to catch up with him too was after Mummy got me in the ribs too. So I wasn't at my best that day. But look, he's obviously had a tough couple of years, hasn't he? So I think you can't underestimate being able to have a sound body to be out there and go and perform the way he has, because I know Lidsey talked about it in the call about he probably got in the habit of just kicking ball out of the stoppage, and that probably comes back from the fact that he's probably not confident in his body and not confident about to drive out of contests. So he looks like he's got that back, and he's such a great player to watch when he's at his best.
Did you ever think you were close?
I thought we were pretty close, but
You're getting Wardy back here to Carlton.
Wardy, Caniglio.
Oh, Caniglio.
Yeah.
What was the woo? Did you take him for a latte on Logon Street or down Chapel Street? Or
No, not quite. It's more just a brief
Just a
coffee.
chat about life?
Just a chat about life and just what we thought he would bring to our footy club, and getting him here into the navy blue would have been nice. But
How close are you coming to the Tigers?
I was quite close, but Cogs was close. But anyway,
Which was closer?
I'm not too sure where he was
We're
at.
going into some interesting territory here post game.
Yeah, no, there was. The number 3 wasn't available at the Richmond. Wasn't room enough for both of us, mate.
What time frame are we talking for Richmond?
No, that was back in 2015, sort of territory. So, we're going through a tough period, but I didn't get really close where I was like definitely going. But I was always keen to stay at Carlton, and happy to see them going on pretty well without me. It's been good.
This is hard for.
It's good, that, isn't it?
I miss it by a year.
This is hard for when a senior coach goes, and we as broadcasters probably always look a little deeper. Oh, is there deeper meaning here? And particularly when it's someone like Steve Coniglio and his relationship with Leon Cameron, given that it played out so publicly in the documentary, obviously in the Amazon series. So Lids asked him the question about his body and how he's feeling, and his response was, to be honest, my body feels really good, but the mind is clear as well. We've been playing with such an essence of freedom in the last 3 weeks. It suited me and I think a couple of other guys as well. So is there more that you can draw on that essentially just the breath of fresh air that comes through a footy club when there is a change in leadership?
What's everyone looking at me for?
Yeah. Well, I definitely look at him and think that he's in a much better space now with the program that's involved and his standing within the program, and you can just see that by the fact that he's been backed into play back in the midfield, where he was becoming a genuine star of the league, and then he's had a tough couple of years and trying to play a different role and had his battles through injury, and then obviously he would have lost, no doubt, a bit of passion for the game as at times. So it's a tough role when you are a captain, you're battling injuries, and you're not happy where things are going, and you can just tell that he looks like he's free and just enjoying his football again.
Yeah, he's only 28, so you do think he's a little bit older than what he actually is, but when his body wasn't fully fit, then the question was, well, if he's not playing in the centre square, what other role can we use him for? And we kind of touched on it throughout the call. When he was playing more as a forward, or push up to the stoppage, he just wasn't having the same impact that he's having now. Now, that might be how much better his body's travelling, but maybe he's just a player who's better suited to starting in amongst the ball, and then once he's got his confidence, he's a great link-up player.
Well, he's a bit like Joel Selwood for mine in that where you see him is right in the middle of the ground, cut and thrust. You don't tend to see Joel spend too much time in that forward half or coming up the ground and trying to make up what he's not. I think for Cogs it is that get inside, use your speed, but then also his nous to get into little holes and then get forward. And I'll say this regularly, or was before he'd gone into his little form slump, is that he was one of the most damaging midfielders in the game. And through 2017, before he got injured in 2019, I reckon he was injured with his ankle syndesmosis maybe. He was regularly getting the numbers that he put up today. 3 goals and 30-odd touches. So I think, that freedom that he is obviously getting, and that just comes about through, the new coach coming in, but probably different things that they're focusing on. They're probably taking a little bit more stress away from
Cog's the leader and making sure that Cog's the footballer and lead by example. And, they've added, obviously, Josh and Toby to that mix to, take a bit of the weight and the stress out of it all for him.
Both teams today had long injury lists with Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper, obviously the big two missing for the Giants. Bobby Hill and Phil Davis also out. Daniel Lloyd, who kicked the last 2 goals to win the game, or to draw the game the last time that these two teams met down in Hobart. Brent Daniels, who they rate really highly as a pressure forward. And then their top 3 picks in last year's national draft. So Finn Callahan, Lids, who we like to ask about, he wasn't there today. Leka Leah, who was picked 15 in last year's national draft, and young Josh Fay. So they're all on the injury list at the moment. They're new talent that they've had in the door, so that they do have a bit back at their disposal. It was interesting to hear Cog say, we're such a tight group, and the established guys, well, they'd want to be because they're going to be there for a long time together. You've got Cornelio and Toby Green through to 2026, Whitfield to 2027, and Josh Kelly to 2029. So they're long-term contracts for their core. What do they do at the end of the year? So are they renovating their list? Are they just going to the draft again and hoping that there's sort of natural progression in the guys that they've topped up with in previous years? Or should they be looking for some kind of a free agent and a particular demographic that they're missing?
Well, I think... for them, they're probably missing another mid-sized forward, to play alongside a Toby Green, someone like a Daniel Lloyd, probably size, but I can't see how those guys that you named, Hopper, Taranto, and that with what the midfield is at the moment, how they all fit. I think there's probably going to be someone that exits there, which you'd think in turn would give them another high draft pick or somewhere around that mark. So, as well as where they're finishing at the moment, so they're not going to be at the back end of the first round. They're going to be at the front end. So,
is Hopper out of contract this year?
Hopper and Taranto are the two.
Yeah.
So the debate has been if they have to choose one,
who is it,
or the other, do they pick Hopper or do they pick Taranto? And yet, it sort of sounds like a bit of the Matt Kennedy was a bit of that dilemma as well, because they saw
it was out of Hopper Kennedy's.
Jacob Hopper is probably a little bit more advanced, and Matt probably wasn't playing the footy
for
the Giants, but he's playing for Carlton. We need to get to North Melbourne. Your assessment on what was another pretty tough day for the Roos fans to watch. They go down by 49 points. They win the final term, as Corby touched on. First 7 goals of the match the way of the Giants, and they did most of their work early.
I think the game was... Well, we knew who the winner was going to be very early in that game, didn't we? It was... it looked like a little bit training run-ish early, and that's a real concern when you've spent the whole week building up to, this is what we're learning, this is what we're trying to execute, to then have it come out and the Giants just go whack, 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 put the score on the board. But on the positive side, I'd rather look on the positive sides of what I did like today, and I think Davies Uniacke took a real step forward. I've been a little bit worried about how his development's been not really growing as that big midfielder that I think they expected him to be, but I thought he was really good today. I think also...
Just hold fire there, Lids. We might just head down to the North Melbourne rooms. I think Jess Webster's been good enough to get us a player's insight into today. Jess?
I have, Clinchy. I found Nick Larkey. Thanks for joining us in the rooms. Unfortunately, the result didn't go your way today, but what were the positives that you can take out of it?
I think they came at us hard early, and the midfield battle, obviously, we were down start of the game. I thought we turned it a little bit towards the other game. We were actually close in most quarters after the first. It was only about 3 goals between second and third, and then we won the last. So I suppose you take the positive out of that. We're just having these big slips in games. So one quarter and a half are really costing us, and they put heaps of scoreboard on, and it makes it tough to come back from after that. So I suppose you take the positive again is we're getting a fair chunk of the game all right. We're competitive for, 3 quarters, but it's obviously not enough. But that's the positive. You've got to draw the positives out of that.
How do you feel, I guess, personally, and I suppose the playing group as well? Is it really frustrating out there, or is it, how can you sort of describe the mindset when the results aren't going away for the first half of the season?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've been doing a lot of work on our mentality out on the ground when things don't go our way, when they throw a couple of punches at us. We earlier in the year, I think we tended to go into our shells a bit more, but we're really working on coming out of our shells as players and individuals, and it's frustrating for everyone when it's not clicking as a team and game plan, but the more we work at it, the harder we work at it, the more steelier resolve we have mentally. When it does turn, it's just going to make it sweeter. So, but it's a matter of sticking at it and sticking to the process and really, really just practicing getting in those positions and really rewarding it when we do turn it around.
Nick Larkey with us on Grandstand AFL. Let's head up to the box. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Nick, Brett Delidio here. Mate, I was really impressed with the work of Luke Davies-Uniacke and his growth in the midfield. I think he's one that you say coming out of yourself. I think you've seen some real steps forward with him today.
Yeah, 100%. He's got a great step inside. When he's got ability to win the ball and then really break away from the contest. He's another one of those blokes who's, as you said, really stepped up, but is also going to benefit heaps when everyone around him steps up as well. And starts playing better. He's going to look like the star that he is. So it's tough work for everyone at the moment, but yeah, exactly what you said. He can take a positive out of his game.
And how do you keep the young blokes really positive with it? I know as a more senior player in the leadership group, you know Jason Horne-Francis, Tommy Powell, young Paul Curtis. How do you keep them on track and upbeat and trying to find? We spoke to Dan McPherson earlier about the marginal gains. Is that something you just got to really celebrate within?
100%. When we're getting pumped on the weekend, you got to take this. You got to really celebrate the small things in the game, because there are little things that are good acts, and there's things that are good for our game plan that we do show in patches, and you just got to drive that home throughout the week. And throughout the week, training's it's great fun. It's a good atmosphere down there. It's a young list. We're enjoying our time in trying to improve. It just hasn't come out and clicked for us so far on game day, but we just got to keep working at it, at training, driving it home, making sure it's a good environment for everyone. But I've been pretty impressed with how much they've grown. I think another positive you can take is, in a time like this, young players like that develop, I reckon, even quicker mentally, and they mature a lot, because you just have to. It's not all easy. They have to actually steel themselves and resolve quicker. So while it might seem tough at the moment, they're going to be all right in the future.
Nick, Mark Murphy here, mate. Just interested about those marginal gains and KPIs. Is that something as players you form together with the coaches, or is that something that the coaches have put to you guys? How'd you go about it?
Yeah, we sat down 2 years ago now and worked out the key areas of the games which we wanted to improve on from the years previous. So it was a whole group approach. I think Nobes and the coaches suggested a heap, and the players actually went away in groups and voted on the ones that we think are important and what our targets should be like and what our targets are. And it's just a matter of adhering to them. And we've hit a couple. We've missed a couple, but it's not going right for us at the moment. But as I said, it's a process, and you've got to find the small little things. I think we were all right in some parts of contested ball throughout the game, so you've got to take those things as wins, watch the clips of that stuff, affirm at home, and then obviously work on the growths. But we came to it all together.
It certainly is. Now, as being a key forward, who's the man if it's inside the centre square? Whose hands do you want the ball in if you're leading out to him?
Well, Jetta actually hit us a couple of times nicely tonight, which was I did get around him hard for that. But I'd say Lukey punches the ball really, really hard, but he gets his hands on it plenty. I'd say
just got to keep pumping him up, mate, because then they all look for you. That's what you got to keep on doing.
Yeah, Jais is unbelievable. Horny's a great player. I reckon Horny. He's pretty good. He looks when he bursts out of the middle, he really identifies where the space is and pops it there. So I'd say
Horny.
Probably him, but it's all very, very close.
What's his nickname? Is it just Horny? I thought it might be Harry from Dumb and Dumber. He looks like Harry Dumber, don't you reckon?
Hornet, Horny.
That's what he looks like. I'm not saying that's who he is.
No, well, I mean, I can bring that one to the group and see what they think of it.
And report back.
A lot of these young blokes might not know Dumb and Dumber.
No,
really?
wouldn't.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
Nick Larkey with us on Grandstand AFL. Nick, there's going to be a lot of comparisons made between your numbers as a team this year compared to the same time last year, and it doesn't necessarily reflect improvement. Is there one area that you can give us where you can confidently say, yep, we're much better there than we were 12 months ago?
I think not necessarily number-wise. I mean, I actually have to have a look at after this game and see what it is to give you a number. But I'd say overall, I reckon we've actually matured as a group. I know it's not a full number for you or a KPI. We've really matured as a group, and we've played a lot more younger blokes. So I think a thing that hasn't helped us is not having Cunners in. I think people overlook that a lot. Like, he's our best player, and you know, when he's in, he brings heaps of other boys into the game. It takes responsibility off other blokes around us. We don't have Polly in as a winger. We've got some big outs. Benny Mackay wasn't playing tonight. We've got some really key players, older heads in a young team, which really make a difference. So That's something to take into consideration when we look at the stats as well. But I think overall, I can definitely sense a maturity shift in the group, which is important.
Good on you, Nick. Thanks very much for your time.
One more sec. I'll just say, if anyone listening from North Melbourne, thanks so much for coming out today, because they were talking up as being the lowest crowd ever. And I think they got 14,000 or something here, and it was really loud when we touched the ball. And we're sorry we couldn't put on the performance we wanted, but we really appreciate everyone coming out. It means a lot, especially when we're down, and when it turns, it's going to be all worth it. So thanks very much.
A worthwhile point to finish on. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate your time. Nick Larkey joining us from the North Melbourne rooms after the Giants' 49-point win.
Big ups for that. That's a great
absolutely.
sense of understanding of what's happening outside your footy club.
It is, and he talked about maturity of the group and everyone. You can't measure that, but you can get a good sense of it when you're within the footy club, and just to be able to hear from obviously one of their young leaders, isn't it? That's a great sign, and they're obviously not in the position they want to be in at the moment, but just to be able to talk to the fans, which is all really important. The fans who listen to that would love hearing that from a young bloke and being honest about where they're at as well. And they all know that it's going to take time, but as long as the fans stick by them and keep on coming out to the football and supporting, because when the good times roll, then that's when you really start to enjoy your football more.
Yeah, and I'm not asking the question as some kind of a gotcha moment. Genuinely, we sort of watch North, and we come to the footy, we do multiple games a weekend, and you see North here and there, but we're not watching them sort of every single week, week in, week out, like North Melbourne fans are. And so I guess we look at the numbers breakdown and you think, I'm not sure I can see the progression. That's probably the best answer I've heard from somebody at North Melbourne in the last 6 weeks as to where the maturity's come from and what it looks like. And the way that he finished that interview was very impressive as well.
The other talking point, no doubt, tomorrow will be the Jason Horne-Francis strike on Josh Kelly. High. What do you think?
Oh, it doesn't look great, does it? In terms of, I know Josh played out the rest of the game, didn't seem to have any side effects or anything from there, but I'm not sure if we're trying to stamp out that sort of behaviour, that's pretty crude.
Yeah, well, I think he's happy that Kelly played out the game.
Yes.
He certainly got him high, swinging arm.
Hard to defend though, that isn't it?
He just got
to the head.
Basically, just got a copy medicine, whatever that is. Is it probably a week? Is it a week?
It's totally up to Michael Christian. So if they grade it as medium, it's a 1 week ban. If it comes back as low impact, he'll get a fine. Josh Kelly was laid out for a moment, had to come off and get a check. That they've graded that as medium in the past. So
you're probably thinking along those lines.
There's every chance the AFL could say, look, we don't like the action, so we're going to give you medium. And if you want to try and argue it's low, we'll see you at the tribunal on Tuesday night. 10 grand.
Yep. There you go. Giants winners by 49 points over North Melbourne, 15-12, 102 to the Roos, 7-11-53. Some votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year, Mark Murphy.
Yes, I've got the task tonight. I actually gave my one vote to a North Melbourne player.
Oh, well done. That's generous.
Luke Davies-Uniacke, I thought was terrific tonight. He sort of reminds me a little bit of a Trent Cotchin sort of style. Yeah. He moves
low
quite similar to him, low to the ground, almost a bit awkward at times in his sort of loping style, but efficient at the same time. I thought he was fantastic for North and just played out the game all 4 quarters, which is really great. Had 33 and kicked a goal. The 3 and 2, I was wrestling with this one, but I thought going on the first half, I thought Cogs was probably the best on, so I gave Cogs my 3 votes. He had 3 goals in the first half, won the game for the Giants, along with Harry Hildenberg, who gets my 2 votes. I thought he was fantastic with 37 touches, 1 goal, 6 intercept marks. But Stephen Caniglio in the centre really set the standard for the Giants. Kick 3, 11 score involvement, so it was around everything. I thought he was fantastic for tonight.
You know the Gill's departing as the chief executive of the AFL. They're going to need someone to come and read the votes on Brownlow Medal night. And here you are reading 1, 3, 2. That's not much of an audition, Murph.
I knew as soon as I said it, I knew there was going to be a question mark from you.
But he's writing them in as you're doing it. And now
he started laughing and having a giggle to himself. That's okay. At least I knew that Aidan Corr's nickname was because of the fact he was core of the apple. So
thank you.
That's one positive to take out.
That's a nice note to finish on. GWS winners by 49 points. So hope you've enjoyed it as much as we did on a day in which the Giants showcased their best and the Roos still have a fair bit of work to do. Of course, the footy action continues tomorrow, round 13, the final match, the Fight MND match. So we'll be on from 2:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And with all the lead up to Collingwood and Melbourne, with Luke Ball and Brent Harvey to be your experts for Monday afternoon footy. The Giants, their second win under Mark McVeigh, their fourth win of the season. 49-point winners in front of 13,742 fans. On behalf of the ABC Sport team, enjoy your night. We look forward to your company tomorrow.